Greetings, and welcome to the Friday edition of Runescape Weekly. Magebit here. How you doing? So we're going to do a little quick pre-show today before we jump into the news. Let me quickly unmute myself in Discord here. Greetings, everyone in Discord. So we're doing things a little differently today, or at least, you know, for now going forward. We're on Facebook now, and more news to come once we start the show officially on how we're on Facebook. But yeah, just real quick, just some check-ins. So the show notes are already completed. We're not going to really do much of a pre-show today. We're going to jump right into the news. How's everyone doing? Pern, how you doing?
I am doing much better now that I fixed my computer. Bit of a panic when I got home, but did a few resets, and it's all up and running, so I am in a good mood again now.
Yeah, glad to hear that. That is always how it goes, right? Right before you're about to do something, it's like computer says no, basically. It's just like, nah,
yep.
Let's just give you a morning full of problems or an evening full of problems before, you know, you can do what you want to do. That's just, yeah, it's the worst. But I'm glad that you were able to figure it out in such short time. We also got DX joining us as well. How you doing, DX?
I'm doing well, thank you. I finally joined you guys on 99 Invention.
Congratulations on that. Let me raise you up to 100% here in Discord. That's awesome. How do you feel at 99?
It's my volume level low.
I had you below 100%, so you were allowed at one point, so you're fine. It's me.
Okay.
It's not me. It's not you. It's me.
Right, okay.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah, be worried there for a moment.
So again, we're doing things a little bit differently today. Generally, we have a fairly lengthy pre-show, but since this is a pretty momentous occasion for us, as we're able to stream to Facebook, I figured I would try to do most of the pre-work, you know, after the fact, so people could see more what the show is actually like. So if you do enjoy the pre-show, and I know there are a lot of people who do enjoy the pre-show, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Just for today, being it's kind of a special occasion, I figured we would kind of just, not bother too much with the pre-show, and I'd get most of the work out of the way. So with that being said, I'm going to just quickly say, is there anything that anyone wants added to the show before I actually begin it? Or are the notes good to go? Just stop my music playing there.
Naturally, we're still waiting on the BTS.
Once the BTS hits,
while the show's going.
Yeah, once the BTS hits, we'll shoehorn it in. So if anyone sees the BTS, just alert me, and we'll get it in next available topic.
We just watch the YouTube chat, because usually Zenla picks it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, someone will pick it up for us for sure. So I'm gonna quickly queue up the intro music. If no one has any pressing issues that they saw in the show notes that are missing, again, notes.runeweek.com if you're interested in the show notes. And the pre-show's under 10 minutes today, so I am not even going to bother with a timestamp, because I should be able to find that. No problem. Okay, the final checks. Today is the 3rd. Yep, just checking my show notes, making sure everything looks good here. Everything does
for us Aussies, it's the 4th.
I asked the quest review. Stick that in at the end, of course. I had a post for that, actually. Where is it? It got lost in my show notes, and now I can't find it.
Best review and not one of those whingers.
Oh, it was definitely a whinger, because I wanted to, you know what I like to do.
I know, so we can rip him apart in the chat.
Yeah. Now, I don't know where it went, though. Mining ReWork, love RuneScape Addiction 2, social, yeah, oh, man. I must have put it in and then, forgot to put it in. I don't know. I'm an idiot. That can definitely be said. So, oh well. It's going to be a fun quest review, for sure. That music, Heather, is all from RuneScape's official SoundCloud, so if you like it, you can download it. The Teleport Scam we will be talking about. It's an older scam. Well, as far as, you would think it would be well known, but it seems to be making a resurgence, so we're going to talk about that as well, because there's a lot of safety checks in place that are not in place for this specific activity, so we'll cover that for sure. And again, if you want to check out all the show notes, notes.runeweek.com, you can check out all of the sources, all of the links there. I'm going to be going over the things a little more in detail than normally, since we have a new audience, which I will get to in the intro here. So if it sounds like I'm being a little more descriptive of things, there's a reason for it. But anyway, I am going to do my best to keep an eye on Facebook chat. It is a little difficult. Facebook does not play nicely with all of my other streaming tools and software, so I have to kind of do it the old-fashioned way. And I apologize if I'm a little bit later behind, but there are other on-screen chat methods as well. I'm going to be looking into seeing if I can find an API for Facebook to feed it into the stream, but Restream does not currently support it in their chat client, so I'm going to raise that feature and see if we can get that fixed. But anyway, let us get into the show. I think we are pretty much good to go here. All right, let's see. Okay, music queued up. All right, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for 3/3/2017. I'm your host Magebit with over 15 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Dxthelb and Pyrnassius. And on today's show, Carrallanger Teleport Scam, Mining Rework XP Rates, Why I Love RuneScape, RuneScape Addiction Part 2, Social or Loner Playstyle, Design a Treasure Hunter promo, The Cost of Cost, Lazy Scammers, Someone Who Doesn't Understand Change, Obligatory Hacked Story, Jagex Show Your Loyalty, Jagex Should Ban Everyone I Report. Thank you for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and enjoy the show. Welcome back for your Friday edition of RuneScape Weekly. Magebit here. How you doing? It's a beautiful day out here, quite cold, but we're getting along okay. Just doing some divination. About to hit 75 million total XP in divination. Kind of happy about that. My divination level is getting almost level 117, which is almost 2 levels higher than my dungeoneering level, which is a little bit frightening, but that's how my life's going. We also got Pern joining us today. How you doing, Pern?
I am very good. Still chasing my thieving pet. Ticked over in the last show. I ticked over the 120 levels, so down here doing that.
Yes.
And on my Iron Man, I am now mining. I picked up the ethereal rune crafting outfit, the complete outfit. So that took me from level 92 to 96 to get the complete set on my Iron Man. So now doing it over on mining, looking for the magic golem outfit.
Yes, the magic golem outfit. I thought you. Oh, yeah, this is on your Iron Man, not your main.
This is on my Iron Man. Yeah, my
you've
already
been
got it all,
relentlessly teasing me that you've had that outfit long before me for so long. I'm like, don't tell me it's been a sham all this time.
It's actually I like the idea. I mean, I was sort of should I get it on my Iron Man or shouldn't I? And I thought no, it is something that you earn properly in game now for that little bit of a bonus. So I don't mind those because it is actually earned, and it wasn't an OP to earn it. I mean, from 92 to 96 before I had the complete outfit, I thought was really, pretty well balanced.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I haven't gone for any of them yet because none of the skills that I've been training recently, being divination. I've been training divination for the past 11 and a half months, so I really don't deserve to be able to weigh in on, I haven't been training any skill. No, I haven't been training anything but divination, so that's kind of silly to even think about. But yeah, I haven't been obviously training any skills that, you can acquire set outfits in, but I am certainly looking forward to being able to get some of those outfits. I think
what's going to be funny is you'll hit 120 about the same week that they release the divination outfit.
Of course. That will be, yes. That is kind of how I'm starting to feel. Well. Oh, man. Yeah, that is for sure. Anyway, before we get into the actual news of the show, I do have... we have some fan art. We have some fan art, first of all. I'll put up the fan art real quick because it's entertaining to me. I just got a PM from our resident graphics designer and quality shit poster, Hampshire, and he wanted to put up this album art real quick. So I'll put that up. I do want to quickly, of course, give a shout out to our new sponsor, Rune Group. That's runegroup.uk. They are allowing us to have this stream on Facebook now. So if you are on Facebook and you're watching this live or after the fact, hello and welcome. And that is all thanks to runegroup.uk. They're a Facebook group that you can check out by going to runegroup.uk. They have over 25,000 members in their group. Very active. I've been a member for over a year at this point now, and I often find myself going into there and just scrolling for what seems like far too long for any healthy individual through the group, just looking through all the different posts. People are very active. It's a really great group. You can check them out at runegroup.uk. UK if you're interested in joining. And they also have a Discord as well. So if you're interested in getting all vocal, you can do that too. So again, thank you very much to Rune Group for allowing us to be able to stream to Facebook using the Restream platform. So thank you very much, and I hope you are all enjoying this newfound ability to stream to Facebook. And again, hello to all of our Facebookers. And I'm just get rid of that wonderful album. Go ahead.
Just to all those Facebooks on guys out there, the reason I'm not joining is because I don't do Facebook at all. So,
fair enough.
You don't see me out there, it's not because I don't like it, it's just I don't have Facebook.
We also have Lexi joining us. Hello, Lexi. How you doing?
Hey.
Welcome to the show. Glad you were able to get up. I know it's super early for you.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I jumped right in at 6. I set my alarm for 6.
Awesome. So super early for you. I appreciate it. Hopefully you'll be able to stay awake, because I know at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's a tall order for me at least.
Yeah, for real. I was up all night doing Virago.
Nice.
Oh.
Any sweet drops?
We got a wand, and then we got a back-to-back sing.
Oh, nice. Very nice. So, before we again jump into the news, DX, would you grab the PSAs for us real quick?
Okay, the minigame spotlight is currently on Fista Guthix. The circus is still currently located at Seers Village, and the free Solomon General Store item for March is the Strongarm Teleport. Now that's usually about 333 rune coins, so it's free this month.
Very nice, very nice. I agree, Zenel. The art is amazing.
Actually, I'll just throw in another PSA for everyone. Don't forget the monthly oyster.
Yes.
Go and collect your rewards from the oyster.
I used my last D&D monthly reset token for the oyster this month. Unfortunately, I think in total I made under 200k from both oysters that I fished this month.
So no die then for you.
No, last month I did a lot better, getting like 2 Zammy pages or something, and at least making some money off of it. For what I hear, and I don't know if this is still true today, but as of like yesterday, you could also still get last month's free for members. I don't know if they've fixed that yet.
I think you still can too.
So if you haven't managed to get last month's free for members, you might still have an inkling of time if you're listening live. If it's after the fact, maybe still, I don't know. Jagex can be lazy sometimes when it comes to removing stuff like that. So get on it if you haven't, for sure. Anyway, why don't we jump directly into our first topic of the day here, which is a post coming from the RuneScape Reddit by Wumpery, who is actually a listener of the show, ironically. Completely unrelated. But hi, Wumpery. He's one of the admins and/or founders, I forget, of big teaching clan, Cursed Combatants. If you're looking to learn bossing or anything like that, Cursed Combatants is open to, people who don't have much experience and are looking to learn. Just a little heads up there. Him and Gwoo, is it Gwoo or GWU? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Sorry, Gwoo. Who have been active in our community recently, and they're nice people. Especially if you're like me and you suck at combat and you're looking to learn. Anyway, so let me jump into this post here. It says, currently some scammers are trying to get players to use the Carrallanger Teleport into the wilderness. When clicking the tablet, there is no "Are you sure you want to enter the wilderness" message, as you would see normally on items that teleport you into the wilderness, including like the wilderness lodestone and things, like the sword as well. Anything that generally teleports you into the wilderness warns you beforehand to prevent things like this. Well, there's already a confirmation message for the lodestone and all that nonsense, so why is there not one for this spell? So this is just kind of a PSA, if you will. It's out there. It's something that's being actively pursued right now by scammers. So, like all other scams that are in game, these things come and go. But to really kind of put an end to this type of scam, Jagex really only needs to add a warning in that says you're going to teleport into the wilderness. So, hopefully with this PSA, we will soon see a ninja fix to this teletone.
Also they should have the normal translation apart from it being
like in parentheses or something, you'd think, right?
Yeah. I was thinking that.
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted that. When the ancient spellbook first originally debuted in the game, and all this, that was ironically one of my reasons for not using the ancient spellbook was I didn't know where any of the teleports went, and I knew a lot of them went into the wilderness or like into weird places, and I was like, I can't handle that. That was like 14-year-old Magebit. It's just like, I'm gonna stick to the modern spellbook because I can read it. Oh goodness.
I want to bring up something here if I could. We had chatting to someone the other day. They've actually turned off the warning to the wilderness.
Fair enough.
And then they were complaining that they then accidentally, instead of clicking Fremennik, clicked the Wilderness Teleport when they had about 200 mil worth of gear on, and then were whinging that they didn't get a warning out there because it should give them a warning with the when they're wearing a certain amount of gear. And I said, well, hang on a sec. If you've gone and turned off that warning, that's your own fault. You need to be careful when you're doing that, no matter what you're wearing. And he got pretty upset. It's like, no, they should be doing the warning. What do you think on that?
All right, here's what I think about that. If you have a modern car, right, and you're sitting in the front of the vehicle, it beeps incessantly because if you don't have your seatbelt on. At least in the USA, that's just a safety standard. Yes. If I circumvent and I open up, the center console and snip the wire that checks to see if someone's sitting in the seat, and then I don't wear my seatbelt because it's not annoying me anymore, and then I get into a horrible car wreck, survive by the skin of my teeth, paralyzed for life or whatever, just horribly injured due to my own, choice that I made, I can't go and blame the car manufacturer because I disabled a safety feature. You disabled the wilderness.
The scissors you used to cut the wire.
Yeah, right. Exactly. These scissors versus the state of Massachusetts. We would. We're looking for life without parole on this pair of Joanne's scissors.
No, that's good because I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, am I just being a dick saying
no,
that?
I don't
think
so.
You've turned it off. I think that it's your responsibility.
If you've turned it off, you're assuming responsibility. In my opinion.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm sorry. If there wasn't a system in place, like with this specific spell, this, in my opinion, is a lure/scam because there's no warning in place, and if you've never heard of this teletab before, then you could easily get caught up in this. If you've gone and turned off the safety features built into the game, I'm sorry, I can't help you at that point. No one can help you at that point. You're beyond help. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up at the beginning of the show. If anyone, basically. As strange as this sounds, and this should sound strange to you, what I'm about to say, don't accept teletabs from strangers. Like, just don't do weird things like that. If someone's like, hey, I have a teletab for you, can you see if it works? Because it's not working for me. Like, who does that? That's like someone saying, hey, can you look inside this bag for me? I can't see. And then, they smash a bag of, crap in your face or something. Like, you put your face in it. Don't do that. People, don't be that trustworthy. People are not that trustworthy. Don't be that trusting.
I got a venomous snake in there. Just put your hand in. I can't feel the bottom of it. See if you can. Yeah.
I worked with a gentleman like that a long time ago. A story for an elite show, but I have a story similar to that. And he would be that guy, but a story for another time. Anyway,
Sentinel's right. You can always, you could turn, it's like Pern said, you can turn off the warnings, and that's don't you have to, if you've got like two-factor authorization, don't you need to type in your two-factor?
It depends.
Disable it as well.
Oh, to disable a feature, probably. I can't 100% say about like the wildy warnings and stuff if that requires a PIN. But anytime you make a change in like wealth to your character, for sure you have to enter your PIN. I thought we were getting past scammed to things like that. No, it'll never happen. Well, that's the thing. Scams are cyclical. Scamming is a cyclical activity. You do it until the heat builds up, the intrigue builds up on the scam, and then you lay low for a while, and then when everyone's conveniently forgotten again, as people tend to do, then you resurge again. You bring the scam back, and you do it again. And that's the problem here with things like this is, well, we're never going to get past it, Mr. Banana Slice, because of just the nature of the beast. There's always going to be people who weren't around for it last time, or don't remember last time, and I've seen greed take advantage of some of the most intelligent people that I know in this game. Like, I've seen people lose party hats, I've seen people lose billions of gold, and these are like rational thinking people, and it's crazy what greed will do to you sometimes, unfortunately. Anyway, on that note, we do have some updated information on the mining and smithing rework, this time on the mining end of things, which I honestly thought we were done talking about when he outlined it initially, but this is more of just kind of an XP breakdown of what you can expect, and I personally just wanted to go over the kind of the XP rates per level milestone, and that's really it. So what you can expect from your different levels, because that's really all that you can easily extrapolate from this document without sitting here for a good chunk of time and really breaking it down here, but for general purposes, I think that's probably the most useful thing here, is to see how XP rates are going to be, especially at the end tier, as I think the majority of people that are interested in the mining and smithing rework probably care more about the end tier than maybe the beginning. Am I incorrect on that, or do you think that's a fair assumption, anyone?
I would say it's pretty fair at the moment. I'd say the majority of players who are sort of looking at this would be maxed or pretty much close to maxed in farming farming in mining and smithing anyway.
Fair enough. So I mean,
just for the people that didn't know, right, on the mining document, it says there time to fill fixes. Now, fixes is actually a mining card, okay? So
yeah,
you don't get confused with that.
Really
mining card, that would have been easier.
I know, I'm not crazy about them using that terminology for it, because I mean, even when I first saw the word, I was like, what is that? So I can kind of understand. I don't know, but anyway, maybe that's a real term that I just don't know. If that's a possibility. So real quick, mining skill in correlation to your pickaxe and rock. So these are all factors that are going to play in how fast you gain experience per hour, but it's fairly easy to read this section. So, at your base level of like level 1 with copper/tin or a bronze pickaxe, you're looking at an active XP per hour of about 1500 versus 250, which is what you're going to see here. That's the average ratio that they've kind of gone with throughout this document, 1500 to 250. So when you move up to level 10, 3150 versus 900, you can kind of see this incrementally increases at a fairly steady rate here. So 9,300 to 3,487 when you get to level 20 with coal and steel pickaxes, and so on and so forth. When you make it up to the the big three, Necrite, Invictite, and Ethereum, you will see some more respectable XP rates. Around level 70 with Necrite, you're going to be looking at an active XP rate of like 84,900, so 84k, almost 85k. With a passive XP rate of 52k. And I think that's pretty good for someone at level 70. If you're active, getting 84 to 85k is pretty good. Or is that me? Is that pretty good for active skilling? Or is that just because I've been doing divination for almost a year straight?
Yeah, it's pretty good for mining.
I need some grounding and clarification. I've been blinded by all of the divination training I'm doing. I don't know what good XP rates are anymore. Can you explain them, the smithing and mining rework? If it's we can go over it in a little more detail once I finish up here. I actually want to do that because we have Lexi on the show today, who hasn't really had a chance to give her opinion. And I know, for the most part, Lexi, I would assume you'd consider yourself more of a PVMer than a skiller. So if you agree with that statement, I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on reworking skills like this, and if it annoys you, or if you're okay with it, or what. But real quick, I'm just going to read off these next two, and then we can jump into a general mining and smithing discussion for those of you who are not quite caught up on what's going on. Level 80, Invictite, going to give you an active XP rate of almost 109k, which, thinking about it, Saren Stones at 99 are like 150k an hour, aren't they? Like, that's pretty crazy. Ethereum, again, at level 90 with an Ethereum pickaxe, again, 136k an hour, which in actively mining, that's basically right around what I would consider to be like Saren Stone rates right now. So that's pretty interesting. And if you're 99 with an Ethereum pickaxe, you're going to be looking at 160k XP an hour actively, and 128k, passively if you're AFK. So those are pretty good rates for being AFK. I think that's right on par with kind of where Saren Stones are. I don't know if they have any plans to rework XP rates at Saren Stones or anything like that, but I would assume probably not. So anyway, those are fairly good XP rates. Does anyone have any comments as far as the balancing of these XP rates go? I'm fairly... Yep.
The one thing that they don't say in there with that 160 active is that including the strength and agility bonus that we were going to get, that they were talking about, where you'll actually do it a little bit faster? Or is that including that, or is that in addition? So that's the base, and then we'll get a little bit more if you have your sort of high strength and high agility.
That's an interesting point you bring up. I don't 100% know. From what my understanding is these are base rates. As I'm looking through the document, they don't list any other variables, and I have seen other documents that have variables here. They do go with
show that the extra bonus, your strength boost and your agility boost, one on each. And
it's like it could be up to 15% if you're 99 in both of those. I understand, which might be a little OP if you're getting 160k an hour with a 15% boost. That isn't, and then let's not even talk about clan avatar and auras and all that stuff. That could be some pretty hefty XP at 99, which I'm not against necessarily. I think gathering skills can be faster. I mean, there's, especially now that there's
once
so
you're over
much,
99.
Yeah. Well, especially now that there's more, there's a need to train after 99 if you want to get into masterwork. I have no problem with XP rates going up significantly after the 99 mark in order to make 120, a more feasible goal. I think 120s should be more normalized than they currently are in the game, and things like that.
Especially when they're talking, with Slayer going to 120, that sort of as you're getting into those higher levels, they're talking about like 800k an hour. So I think 160 with a bit of a boost, if it gives you up to 200, 210, I think that's pretty reasonable.
I agree. Go ahead, Lexi.
What I like about it is that it's partially AFK.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they give you like an active choice. No pun intended. They give you, a choice. You could be active or passive, and we're going to cater two different styles of play into one skill. And I think that's a really good idea. So because there are people who want to train actively. Like I argue that training actively is something that we need to see more of in skilling. So here they show you here's some active XP rates. They're generally a little bit better than your passive XP rates. But if you want to be passive and you want to still get good XP, that's fine too, because it's just a gathering skill, For a simple gathering skill, if you want to be AFK, you should absolutely have the option to do so. And I'm glad to see that they definitely incorporated that in, and fairly, I would say. Like, at the upper levels, it's only, it's about a 40% XP increase if you're going to be active, but the passive XP rates, in my opinion, are, if anything, just as good as the current active XP rates, if you would consider mining to be an active task, aside from Sarin Stones. I guess LRC, if you can consider LRC to be active, which I think to some degree it is. There's a lot of moving around down there occasionally. So, yeah, I'm happy with these XP rates, for sure. As far as the whole idea of a mining and smithing rework, do you want to talk about that at all, Lexi? What are your thoughts on them reworking skills like this after being in the game for so long?
The only problem that I have with it, really, is that it's going to affect every drop table in the game.
That is a daunting task.
It's going to affect Slayer. It's going to affect boss. And you know how many bosses drop rune items? And so they at first they were talking about just switching it out for coins, or the equivalent of how much rune is right now. Because rune is going to drop significantly, and
if they don't do it,
it's the question of, do they add these new auras as drops, or do they add in different things as drops?
I would prefer to see them just leave alch values alone on rune and let rune sit at its alch values, pretty much as it kind of does now, and then just increase the amount of rune we're seeing for those drops. Is how I personally would like to see it, because rune, its value can't really go any lower than it is, and there are rune items that are good, 30, 40k, sometimes more, at alch value, and I would have no problem with just all the rune. Just give them all the rune and then let them alch it, or they can sell it a little bit under alch value for someone who wants to, alch it, and on top of that, it still promotes a healthy economy with rune crafters, people who want to actually actively craft runes. I'm not biased at all, being my next 120 will probably be rune crafting, but I don't want to see the rune crafting market crash either. So I also have an interest in not seeing the rune prices crash either. So I agree with you that, like, we can't let rune just shit the bed or something like that. There needs to be a safety net in place for those items. Otherwise, reworking rune completely, if we drop the alch value, which is, that's up for debate, it very well could happen, and if it does, you're right, that is a pretty big concern that I think we should have,
Well, if they're gonna add these new ores, there's gonna be alch values for them as well.
Sure.
And so there's only so high you can go, and for the tiers,
What if they made these new ores unalkable, like the product, or at least make it to the extent that why you wouldn't want to alk them, as in like just you'd be basically shooting yourself in the foot, economically speaking.
That
Excuse
sounds
me.
so broken. I don't think they would do that though.
I don't know. I would rather see these items be returned for either XP, or they would be either refolded into new metal to make masterwork items, which is I think how they're dealing with the influx of lower tier items into the game up to a certain point. Is you'd basically be destroying them back for more XP, or you would be refolding the bars if they are high enough level, so you can then use those bars for masterwork items where the real money would lie. And that's what I'm hoping is how it kind of unfolds. I can't. Obviously, what I'm saying is just speculation versus from the previous documents that we've read through, but. If they did it that way, I feel like that there would be a pretty good chance that people wouldn't want to just elk them. They would actually sell them on the Grand Exchange for people who are folding them, because those people are looking for more XP, or people who want to make masterwork items. And again, those people are also going to want to buy up those items because they need to make the masterwork bars.
It sounds like a much better idea. The other thing I was saying a while ago is, if we're really worried about the rune items, is start just dropping dragon items, because dragon items are uncraftable.
That's very true.
Just start dropping those for that elk value of those type of things. If they, that'll keep everyone happy. That'll keep your PVMers happy because they're getting a decently priced product. It'll keep your rune crafters happy because the elk value on dragon is reasonable, and you can make your money that way. So,
it'd be an interesting alternative.
I don't want to see any of this new stuff dropped as a PVM drop.
Me either.
That will just be in straight into the same problem as we are already. You're just going to kill the skill before it starts if you make it droppable by bosses.
What I do appreciate is that a lot of these armors require PVM drops to complete. So
yes.
it's a mutual, there's a symbiosis here. Is you're a PVM, you're at next, you're getting all of the Torva drops and stuff like that. Well, I need those to make my masterwork items and whatnot. I need to break those items down and fold them into appraisal bars and stuff. So I'm reliant just as much on your drops as you are reliant on me to create those armors for training purposes or fighting purposes or whatnot. And I think there can be, at least in theory, on paper, it sounds like that there could be a symbiotic relationship restored. We used to have that symbiotic relationship between skillers and PVMers back, I would say, probably back in RuneScape 2. It kind of, I don't know when it died, to be honest. I guess when they started dumping all of the skilling resources into Slayer and bossing, I guess is when it technically died. But it seems like this would restore some of that need to rely on the skilling player base, not in any critical terms, as as far as your food and potions and stuff like that go. No, those are still gonna be, as much as I don't like it, those are still gonna be drops for the foreseeable future and whatnot. But on the other side, as far as your fancy armor drops go, it's okay, these drops that were probably not worth as much because of new things that are coming out are gonna get new life breathed back into them, because smithers are going to use them, and they're going to need more than one to create a masterwork item. And these masterwork items are going to take 40, 60 hours to make, one of, if they stick to the original design document. So people like me have to spend a week, 2 weeks of in-game time to produce a singular item. That is going to be sold to a singular individual, So that then I think creates a new little microeconomy for smithers, and I think at least in the in the beginning, the introduction of this, there is going to be some people who are going to want to pay top dollar for this, and obviously the market will even out over time. But I feel like this is a possible way to make a decent living off of skilling. I recently started playing EVE Online again, and I forgot how literally everything is made by players, and how much I adore that model. And I think RuneScape once followed that model, and it kind of makes me sad that they kind of strayed away from that. So seeing the mining and smithing rework has given me hope. And Mr. Banana Slice or anyone else, if you have any questions about the mining or smithing rework or concerns that you want us to address or debate, feel free to drop them in any one of our chats, and I'll do my best. But after that, what do you have any other comments, Lexi, or do you want me to move along to the next topic here?
Well, there's gonna be tier 92 armor, it said.
Yeah, energized armors for sure are a definite possibility, and more than probably a reality. I guess we should be pretty honest with that. And yeah, we talked about energized armor a little bit ago, and honestly, I can't even remember the nitty-gritty details of it. I'm trying to bring up the mining and smithing rework document.
Yeah, well, my concern is if the armor's going to be just melee, because then that makes it uneven for mage and range. We already have the scythe sitting at like 250 mil on the GE, while the Nox and the bow and the staff are sitting at 150. It's overpowered already. So if they're going to get overpowered with the armor, nobody's going to want to do range or mage.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point, is the fact that this is only encompassing melee, which is kind of frustrating, but I think it glares at a larger problem, is the fact that I think other skills need to be reworked as well. And also, the items that are going to be needed to create those tier 92 armors, or that melee armor, is going to be ridiculously time-consuming and expensive to create, and to then forge. That I really hope that it doesn't devalue the lower tiers too much, because a lot of the lower tier armor will be needed to make the higher tier armor, so there will still be a demand for it. And I'm hoping that alleviates the problem that you're speaking of with watching the tier 90s get, kind of devalued due to the current tier 92s and whatnot, which is just logical forward progression. But on the flip side, we don't want to see just a complete devaluation of items, especially tier 90 pluses. I think anything tier 90 plus should hold its value for a good time to come, and I would even go so far to argue as anything tier 80 plus should still be relevant and useful and profitable in today's market. And I really hope that the smithing rework is able to kind of encompass that, whereas it will require tier 80 and 85 items, significantly require them, a lot, so it will, again, incentivize people to go to those tier 80 bosses and provide them with rewards and loot, so then I can then refine them and get my own rewards and loot and whatnot, and we can all
don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's going to bring the price of Barrow's armor back up too, because it starts at Barrow's armor, I think, where we start folding or breaking those down for.
It all starts at tier 70. It starts with the Necrate armor and moves up from there.
I think what Lexi's biggest issue there was, though, that it's all melee. There's no tier 92 for mage and such. And I think, with rune crafting, I think, maybe rune crafting and crafting should be our next reworks, where we can start looking at developing that in a similar type of way, where we're breaking down, your lower tiered armors and using those, and then crafting T92s in those as well. So hopefully, it won't be just left at this. In a few months' time, we'll start seeing those coming out as well.
I really hope that we see a complete expansion of just artisan skills and gathering skills. We need it, honestly. We have a thriving PVM community, and we used to have a thriving skilling community, and I think that if done properly, we can have both working in tandem together. I know that, there's always been the issue of the skilling side of things, whereas, there has never been enough people that want to skill, and, then bots, come in and make up the price difference on things by spamming the market with, undesirable items to collect. These are all things that, they need to think about as they're developing these new skills to, give value to those lower items, even if it's destroying them for additional XP or folding them down to, help you create, newer, more powerful items. But just dumping things on the Grand Exchange is not a solution. It has never been a solution, and it has always caused market inflation. So it definitely needs to be addressed before mining and smithing can come out. And I honestly think that is one of the reasons why it has been delayed as many times as it has, up to almost, I think we're looking at an entire year delay, which I think was a good idea, because we don't want to just dump this on players I say we as if I have any say in the development process. But, you know, the community doesn't want to dump it on them, and the developers don't want to dump it on them if it's going to wildly throw the market off, you know, for an entire group of players, a very large group of players. You know, so I think that as valid as these changes are, they need to be done on eggshells, otherwise, lest we see, you know, Invention 3.0. I don't know.
Yeah, and one thing too, we must always keep in mind too, there are still 2 more expansions that we don't know about, and maybe, yeah, sort of that crafting and rune crafting for those other armors is included in one of those. I mean, you know, it wouldn't be sort of unlikely that that's not one of those updates coming out as well.
Yeah, they're hiding a lot from us this year.
They are
hiding
which
a
is
lot
fantastic.
From us. It's both.
No, I mean, like, as I said, that last quest, the Guthix Memorial, I have really, really enjoyed just logging on and saying, yeah, that anticipation. What are we getting? And just seeing, you know, seeing what it is. I've really enjoyed that anticipation.
DX, as you're saying, second expansion being the weather system. It can't be the weather system because we know about the weather system. The 3 expansions were the 3 things that they refused to tell us. So that means it has to be the farming rework, the player-owned house and farming rework. That gotta be one of them because they wouldn't mention that despite it ranking.
Farm and greenhouse. Farm and greenhouse.
Go ahead, Lexi.
Also, remember back in October, November, they said that Bank Bidders would be released in February 2017.
Yeah, they did.
And February passed.
Back.
Shh, don't wake the beast. I was actually just talking about this in chat this morning. I was like, February is gonna pass. Did they just quietly sweep Bank Bidders under the rug? Like, it was.
Yeah.
I kind of hope they did.
Forget.
There was someone on the official forums last week I was reading asking, where are our bank betters? They call it to bet on a bank. And I thought that's actually probably a better term than bank bidders.
Bank betters would actually be kind of interesting. It's like, how fast can I get to max cash stack? Drop your bets now. Whoever's correct wins the cash stack. That would actually be some cool streamer integration right there. Oh man. So let's see. Any final thoughts on the mining and smithing rework? Questions, comments, concerns, chat, fellow co-hosts? Anyone want to...
Just get it out.
I guarantee you we'll be covering it at least 50,000 more times before it comes out in September. If it comes out in September. If the world is still around in September. Anyway, so that is the balancing of the mining and smithing reworks. If you have any concerns about the XP rates, get in contact with Mod Jack. That's JagXJack on Twitter, Mod Jack on Reddit. Yeah, let him know if you have any concerns or if you just want to pat him on the back. I honestly think that he's done a really good job so far laying all these documents out. I'm sure he's had help, tons of players, and I'm sure they've had plenty of meetings about this by now. So, again, we'll be covering this as more information develops, so stay tuned for more. Anyway, I have a post from Reddit that it's a little old now. It's about 10 days old, but we haven't had a chance to read it on the show. It's a feel-good story, and I wanted to kind of see what other people... if anyone has any similar experiences to this individual here. I haven't actually read this story, so it's going to be a blind read, if that may, the irony of that statement, I'll let that sink in for a second. But yeah, blind read through. And we're just going to kind of react to this story real quick. So this is called Why I Love RuneScape, a long post about why I love RuneScape. Aptly titled. Ven177 writes this and says, so, I started playing RuneScape again recently. I go back to it once every few years, and I'll try to get some of my friends to join me, and I get the usual, God, it's so boring, and I just kind of shrug them off because I get it. It's not a game for everyone, but they always ask me why I like it, and I never really can put it into words. And so here's a really tacky love letter to a game I've been playing for like 15 years on and off. The past. As a kid, I loved RuneScape because it was free and ran on my shitty laptop. Yeah, that's pretty much why I started as well. Pretty straightforward, I guess, but in retrospect, why I really liked playing it is because compared to things like FlyFF and Rose Online, those came a bit later, but they're the closest comparisons in my head space regarding the same era of MMOs. RuneScape had a very clear set-out goal. That's a really weird sentence for RuneScape, like, if anything, I love RuneScape because it had no, set rules of engagement. I could play it how I wished. So, interesting opposite there. I saw some of the Dragon Longsword. I'd ask them how they got it. They'd tell me about a quest. I'd go figure out the requirements, and then boom, there goes my weekend, grinding up the requirements to do the quest so I could get a Dragon Longsword. Straightforward. I was able to set a goal, figure out what I needed to do, and do it. And when I was a stupid kid with no attention span, that level of simplicity was super appealing. On top of that, it was easy to understand. Compared to other MMORPGs, RuneScape didn't jerk you around. Everything made sense, even when I didn't understand the concept of MMORPGs at the time. I could go anywhere I wanted at any time, which was a very big thing to me. That's definitely one of the experiences that kept me in RuneScape. I was very used to the console era of like action RPGs and adventure RPGs where you were very much on rails. And, you know, the games like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and things like that at the time were games that let you explore an open world. And those are the games that kept me coming back because I got to play in the world as if, you know, I was in the game. That is a huge immersion factor for me personally, so I can relate to that. In other MMORPGs, if I wandered past the current zone for my level, I'd just get my ass handed to me. But in RuneScape, I could just explore wherever I wanted. RuneScape... I don't know. I got my ass handed to me plenty of times in RuneScape as a kid. I mean, I remember the first time I went into the Varric sewers was I had a pretty traumatic experience. RuneScape is a sandbox in a way almost no other MMORPG at the time or since then has been. I would agree with that. Has anyone speak aloud if you have found any other game that you've said this is just as good or better than RuneScape for just to tickle your MMORPG itch? Because I haven't. I haven't been able to.
I just want to say, like, the first time I got my ass handed to me in RuneScape is when I first became a member. The first place I went was the Ice Strike Web Cave in the Ascanian Ice Dungeon. Because I was always curious about what was in there, and I lost my rune.
Yeah, I
never made that mistake again.
Explain the trauma. Okay, so the first time I went into the Moss Giant Dungeon, which it became known as the Moss Giant Dungeon to me and my friends. The first time we went in, my character was about level like 28, maybe 30, and I go in and I open the first gates and I see these skeletons and like legitimately my heart started pumping. Like there's this little 2D pixelated skeleton and I'm like, oh, combat. Like my heart starts going. I fight my way through the skeletons. I fight my way through the ghosts. I get to that ladder and I go up it thinking I'm free and I'm trapped in this cage with a bear and some gold coins on the ground. So I go back downstairs, keep wandering further in, past the zombies, slash the web. The red spiders, they were a challenge, but no. I got to the mighty Moss Giant. I see this green giant man standing before me, and I'm like, I got this. I attack him, and I don't know if anyone's played RuneScape Classic here, but the screen is tiny, and the Moss Giants were really large, and their health bar was not visible on the screen for quite some time in the early stages of the game. And I thought this Moss Giant was invincible due to that fact. I panicked, and he killed me, and I lost a lot of iron armor that day. It was sad. Anyway, I cried a little bit. Like that was like a week's worth of work getting that iron armor. You laugh. You laugh.
My first death was to one of the highwaymen just walking down south of Felidor there. I thought, oh, what's down here? And I just went wandering down. I got attacked by the highwayman and didn't know where to run, and he just kept chasing me and took me down.
Those highwaymen are relentless. RuneScape is a sandbox in a way almost no other MMORPG at the time or since has been. Obviously, there were dangers out there, but after dying a couple of times without much valuable stuff on, I had learned that when I'm exploring new areas, I needed to not bring things I didn't want to lose because there was danger out there. But cities weren't locked behind levels or zones that I couldn't reach, or where it turned out a case of things being useless to me because I didn't have a high enough level to accept quests from the NPCs in one. So when I became a member, it was insane. There was this whole new world to explore, and it was scary. Like, the wilderness was just one thing, but traveling over White Wolf Mountain and almost getting killed was just as nerve-wracking. I can relate. My first traversal across White Wolf Mountain was a scary event. I was level 60 when members originally came out. It had those same dangers, but it wasn't other players. And it felt great to be able to just travel over it and ignore the wolves, or kill them if I wanted without even bringing food. Of course, that's not to say it was all peachy back then, because I hated grinding gathering skills, specifically fishing and mining. Because back then, to me, that was like the work that had been put in order to experience more of the game. But quests that controlled access to items, looking at you, 56 to throw agility for a dragon halberd, or just quests themselves, wanting to experience them. Now, when I play, the grind is more of something I do on the side while I'm doing other things, which was an incredibly well-designed way to grind skills. Being passive enough that I don't have to put all my focus on it at a time in my life when I don't have the time to put all my focus in it. But getting back to the lack of peachy, the grinding felt a bit like work. Sure, it was work I wanted to do. I saw someone with a dragon medium helmet and goddamn I wanted it. But it cost so much money, so I'd grind and grind because I knew it'd be a huge status symbol proving how much time and effort and care was put into my character. I wanted to be the dude who could do whatever he wanted, buy whatever he wanted, etc. I see these guys with combat levels 100 or above, and I want that to be me, and it kept me driven. And I agree. That's pretty much what kept me going for the longest time, was just having a higher combat level than everybody else. I wanted to see everyone else in green. And it was never at top tier, but I was always trying. I'd Google ways to make money in RuneScape at least once a week, hoping there would be some trick that would make me millions quickly, but there never was. So I'd keep trying to get my skills better whenever I had time, and just keep going and going and going. When Barrows came out, it was like I didn't understand really how people were doing it. You kill these bosses a bunch of times for a chance to get some insanely good armor? That was crazy to me. And then spending hundreds of thousands of gold to repair it? That was even more insane. I wanted to be that rich and powerful, to be able to get that armor on my own and keep it repaired and use it. I eventually did, and it was just as satisfying as I'd expected it to be. These are all things that I can completely relate to as my journey through RuneScape. Is Barrows was terrifying for me when it came out as well. Like, I was doing maybe 1 or 2 Barrows trips per teleport at the time, and yeah, it was a dangerous experience. It's fun to think back on those types of things. Is somebody who has a shorter timeline as far as when they have joined the game until now, I wonder if that experience would be similar or different. If you have been playing RuneScape for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, opposed to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years or plus, I would be curious to hear that story. Is if you felt similarly about content that, even though it wasn't new to the game, was new to you. Mm-hmm.
So for myself, I mean, I've been just over 5 years. I started mid 2011, and it was like, I mean, aiming towards Barrows was a big thing. Trying to get the pest control armor, because that was supposed to be the best down there, and then dying down there and losing it. It was just like, that was devastating. And then it was trying to get to the God Wars dungeons for myself, even though there were better bosses out there. That was my aim, and even though they had been out a lot of years and everyone had them, that was the sort of, I have exactly the same feelings, even though it was sort of 10 years after him, same type of experiences.
That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear. And I think that's just the magic of RuneScape. Anyone else have any stories? Feel free to interrupt me, but I feel that is the magic of RuneScape. Is it doesn't matter how old the content is. It's if you're experiencing it for the first time, I think it provides its own magic. It makes its own gravy. Sentinel saying, I remember my cousin introducing me to RuneScape, showing me an amazing money-making method: steal silk from the stall in Artie, resell it to the silk trader, 30k GP an hour. Yeah, I used to do a lot of thieving for money. That nature rune chest was a huge moneymaker back in Classic, for sure. Coming from the Facebook side of things, Carson, I just want that party hat. That's what's kept me driven. That's certainly a valid goal. I mean, in my stages of the gameplay, I feel kind of that way as well. As I'm just trying to, for those of you who don't know, I had a party hat set at one time in my life, and all I want is one of them back. I just want the yellow one back, because as a kid, I used to wear the yellow party hat and pretend that I was, king of Falador Castle and whatnot, and it just has a lot of memories for me. And we used to do a lot of role playing when I was a kid. And,
well, so you've already had one, so it's my turn.
You don't need one now.
You don't need another one anymore. It's time for me to have one.
You're old. Your reign is over. You're old as dirt. Go retire. The party hats are for the youth. Let's see here. So I'll continue here unless anyone else has any interjections. And over time, with more updates like that, RuneScape kind of grew and took some inspiration from traditional MMOs, with things like the Grand Exchange changing RuneScape forever. And I kind of tuned out around the time that showed up. Not because of it, just because I was in high school, was doing more work, started dating. I just didn't have the time for RuneScape anymore. It was probably the longest hiatus I took from the game, from being around late 2007 until at least 2011. But probably 2012 when I finally came back for a long time again. So, I can relate to it. We've all taken breaks in our life for, work, school, family, whatever. That happens, for sure. Tangent about losing my account. So he has a little tangent about how he lost his account there. Again, I think if you haven't been hijacked, you aren't playing RuneScape, right? Or you've only been playing for the past 5 years. Back in the days when there were protections in place, getting hijacked was scarily too. It happened left and right to a lot of people. Now that they have the proper protections in place, it's almost a non-issue if you're doing security right. And if you want to know how to do security right, a little segue, you can go to Magebit.tv, check out our RuneScape security series. It's pretty good. It's not finished, but there's like 3 or 4 episodes there, and the most basic information is definitely there. But anyway, so he says, tangent about losing his account aside, and we go over so many losing account tangents on the show for a purpose, to not to make fun of people, but to remind everyone that it is a real thing that happens and to not take security lightly. When I came...
And just a little ad for later on, we do have the obligatory I was hacked post coming up too.
Definitely. Chris says, I used to play FlyFF a lot earlier after a few years with RuneScape. Too bad G-Potato didn't get quite as big as a private server for FlyFF, even more popular than the real officials. It's crazy how... private servers can sometimes end up more popular than the main game. Old school RuneScape. Excuse me. We joke on this show and call RuneScape, old school RuneScape a private server, but let's be honest about it. It is, if not more popular than the main game. Like, it's pretty dang popular.
Alternate universe.
But it is an alternate universe for sure. Official run private servers are probably one of Jagex's greatest ideas ever. Anyway, I'll continue along here. And this is also coming from some non-old school I'll say nice things about old school RuneScape occasionally, even though I'm a RuneScape 3 player. See, it's possible. When I came to RuneScape, it was drastically different, and so many people said that it was dead, and private servers were running rampant, etc., etc. But I didn't hate it at all. Everyone said that it was trying to be more like other MMOs to get a slice of their pie, and yeah, I think on the surface level it felt like that, but when I played it, always felt more like the game was just growing up along with its player base. Thank you. Another human being that recognizes that change is normal. The game is just evolving. At some point, Jagex must have realized that RuneScape's heyday was behind it, and the people who loved it were sticking with it, and that was okay. And I wouldn't necessarily say that completely, but I would definitely say we have a more mature audience, and I don't mean age-wise, but just player-wise, as far as how long people have been playing, then a game that's definitely hasn't been around for a decade and a half, sure. Again, I just started playing EVE Online, and that game is really old, and I have, but the game has changed so much over time. I'm looking up guides and whatnot, and if the guide isn't from 2016, at least, it's unusable, so games evolve. Anyway, so while it could be argued that RuneScape was becoming more casual, I think it's more the game was really growing up with the player base that was sticking with it. The people who were 10, 15, and whatever played about 10, 15 hours a day on the weekends couldn't do that anymore. But they wanted to stay competitive, so Jagex made it easier to do certain things, be it more banks in more places, the ability to hotbar drop items in order to make more efficiently power-grinded skills, or allow full MMO-esque skill bars, and then allow 2/3 of the skills to be set to auto-cast. Which he then praises as being absolutely genius, because if you don't remember, magic was not always auto-cast. There were days where magic was pretty annoying to use. Anyway, the current, he says here, so, that kinda, but not really, organically brings me to why I still love it. As a kid, it was my first MMO, and it was simple and blah blah blah. But what now? Now I can appreciate it for how much intricate it is than just about any other MMO that's ever come out. I can see how insanely different it is to treat combat with little more than something that sounds as mundane as woodcutting, and how refreshing it is to not be locked behind a "you need a level 50 to do this quest for this NPC," which will require you to kill 30 pigs or something. Every quest is 100% unique, with interesting characters that I give a shit about, and puzzles that I actually want to figure out for myself. Actually, that kind of points something else out that I've noticed that gives evidence to RuneScape growing up with its audience. Look at the quests and lore from the game when the game was still newer, and how simple it was compared to now. What do you see? A lot more complicated characters, more complicated storylines with more moving parts, and more character. Compare Dragon Slayer to Digsight, to Monkey Madness, to Death to the Dorgishan, to While Guthix Sleeps. Look at the advancement of the characterization, quest complicatedness, and world building. The quests are really a pretty solid allegory for RuneScape as a whole. Enemies, skill mechanics, combat mechanics, it all gets more complicated and kept the core player base of RuneScape interested as it grew up. And the ones who didn't like it but still love the game were given their own version that still gets support to this day. I have to say, I completely agree with that. Like, I used to hate quests. Go listen to, 2013 RuneScape Weekly. I did not like quests. I recently started questing and, stopped spacebar questing and guide questing in, 2014, maybe 2015. I think a lot of that was due to our current disposition as far as needing to report on them mainly, but I grew and developed a love for quests. Pern, what are your thoughts on quests?
I love quests. I look forward to them. I mean, I just wish they would do more of them. Yeah, they don't have to be big, major storyline quests like the last one we had. Just little bottle quests that give me something to do. Sort of, if I got a 30 or 40-minute quest once a month, I would be very, very happy.
Yeah, me too. Lexi, are you a quester? Do you enjoy quests, or do you throw them by the wayside?
I despise quests.
Tell
They're
me
all
why.
stupid.
Tell me why. I love having an opposite opinion. So, what about quests is the most annoying for you, and is there anything that forces you to do a quest?
Well, yeah, things like curses and stuff, but some of the requirements are ridiculous. You have to have kudos and stuff. But my main problem is that it takes forever for me to prepare for a quest, because it's you need this, and this, and then I have to check my bank if I have it or not and buy it. It takes me 2 hours to pre-quest, and I hate it.
I will give you that for sure. Is some of the older quests that require an insane amount of items to complete. For chat's teasing me right now about monkey. Do no evil. It's I rage quit that quest live because of the amount of items that had to be pre-gathered and just the amount of annoying teleports.
But that's what makes questing so unique in this game. In that it is an actual. It's a quest. It's a whole adventure that you have to go and find. And I mean, quests that take 4 or 5 hours that you have to go and I need this. I need to find this. I need to make this, or I need to buy this. That's what makes it so unique and so versatile. And really gives you that immersion into it. It's not just okay, go here, kill me a bunch of these, go here, pick me 42 fruit, and you actually have to go, you have to get equipment. It's all encompassing in the game. And when you're saying about it needs requirements and such, that's the whole thing. You need to experience the whole game and build up your mining or build up your rune crafting and doing all those type of things to be able to do those and have those levels and such, to be able to do those quests and have that experience.
It's XP waste.
God. I'm going. I hate that. See you later.
It is XP waste to a degree. I think it's a fair trade-off. I think and enjoy. And again, you have to like the storyline. And I'm on Lexi's side 33% because I have a small hatred for certain questing mechanics that will never burn out in my heart. I cannot stand if you cannot obtain the item during the quest and I have to break quest to go to a Grand Exchange and buy something, that breaks the quest for me. That breaks my immersion. I don't like that. I think it's a bad mechanic. Everything that you need for a quest should be contained upon the path for the quest. I shouldn't have to... It's a little too much like real life to be like, if I'm on a quest to fix something, like, oh, I gotta run down to Home Depot. It's like, no. Like, weave it into the storyline. Let me experience the whole thing as a story. I don't need, it shouldn't be like, if I'm reading like an epic story, it shouldn't be like, and then the Hobbit stopped at 7-Eleven to grab a hot dog and some juice because they got a little bit hungry on their way to Mordor. No, I don't need that shit. Just let me get to my destination. The tools need to be provided along the way. Like, I think that is completely... DX, what are your thoughts on questing?
I love quests, man. I always love the adventure and stuff like that, and traveling to new places and understanding new areas. I love it. I always loved it. That's why I always kept up to date with my quests.
Yeah, you have always had the quest cape, and I've never owned the quest cape ever.
I actually have not I still haven't completed the
Which one are you missing?
Slisky's Endgame. I haven't completed that yet.
That's a good one. Well, I say good is like, it's good now. On release, that quest was a living nightmare, possibly actually hell. But it's much better now. Like, it's
Mod Raven was the sick freak who came up with the labyrinth.
Of course he was. I was surprised to learn that Mon Raven did not have much to do with the new quest. And again, we will be covering the new quest at the end of the show, so people who don't want spoilers can duck out at the end. So there will be multiple warnings before we begin talking about the new quest, but we will be talking about the new quest, so stick around. Gonna finish up.
I just want to mention, back in 2013, Magebit didn't even know how to pronounce Pryptonus, so...
Didn't you made a remix of that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I did that to They Might Be Giants. So
yeah.
That turned out to be pretty good.
I wanted to play it on the show, but copyrights. I can't play that.
Copyrights.
Yeah. If you pitch the song differently, I might be able to. Thank you, Crucci, for the follow, by the way.
I just want to say, though, when you're talking about the quest, having to break it and go and buy it, you want to be able to do it in-game, you can do it, because most of the items are you create yourself. If you want to go and mine the item and smith it and do that type of thing, you don't have to just go and buy it. That's part of the fun of those quests.
I'll give you that. But there are certain times there are just items.
Want to rush through it, but
I mean,
there's a few, and there's a few quests where they say, okay, you have to go and get 50 items.
Burn.
Is a bit
yeah,
but that's not every quest.
But I'm just like, on a quest that requires you to like bring 30 steel bars, 25 super composts, 100 runes. Am I gonna go to the Grand Exchange and buy each one of those, or am I gonna go mine the ore required? The ore required for that.
No, you don't have to go buy. You can make it.
You can, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, the fact that you can, I will give you the credit that is a good thing. Like, that is way more immersion than I'm asking for. Like,
what? Right,
you're going to the logical...
Great with an Iron Man account, because you have to do it all yourself.
Yes, but that is a game restriction that you put on yourself. And again, that's fine. And, I understand that my argument is not necessarily a needed argument. It's just the thing that if I was telling a story, I think it's best told in a linear fashion. If you're questing, if I have to break it to go do something else that feels outside of the quest, I have to go to an area that just doesn't feel part of the story. For me, it breaks my immersion a little bit, and that's me personally.
And actually, the hobbits do take breaks where they go and raid Bilbo Baggins' pantry and such for food and things like that. They do take food breaks and go and...
You caught me! I didn't read the books! Fuck!
I've read the books I love those books. I've read them several times, and I just wanted to bring that one up.
No, that was good. All right, you win. I concede.
I mean, I can see both sides why people do find it annoying.
Yeah.
Just one word I really, really, really hate being used is XP waste. That sends me up the wall, that one, because you're there to play a game. It's not a job.
Was that the reason why you muted and started raging all around the room?
Yes, I hate that word. That is the biggest cop out there. That's just
I say it all the time.
Oh, and a lot of people do. It drives me insane because I play a game for fun. It's, I set my own goals and such. And it's XP. No, I'm not going to go do that. It's an XP waste. It's like, dude, it's a game. You're having fun. Just play and have fun.
Well, some people, it's not fun if you're XP wasting.
Some people are addicted to XP gain. I will give you that. I use the term addicted loosely there. I don't mean like, there's a limit to that. Real quick, let me read some comments from Facebook. Heather says, I like short, small, entertaining quests. Anything longer or more difficult bores me. I think that's a fair judge. Like, I think that longer quests can definitely lose, attention span if they're extremely dialogue heavy. I can understand that. It can only appeal to certain audiences occasionally. I wish they would do more bottle quests is my real response there. Is I like short, small, entertaining quests too. Rite of Passage was an amazing mixture of a light story with good puzzle mechanics, and it only took like 30 minutes. Like, that was great.
And that's what I mean. You bring out 3 or 4 really large quests a year and just make the rest little 30, 40-minute bottle style quests. I'd be happy enough with that.
Me too. Just 1 or 2 a month. 1 a month I'd be happy with at this point. Rune Group saying, RuneScape quests are some of the most unique quests in the MMO world. Normally quests are like, go here, kill 100 of these, collect many items. RuneScape quests are real gaming with real stories. Couldn't say it better myself. 100%. That is why I love RuneScape in general, is everything feels like it has substance to it, where a lot of games feel openly hollow beyond their, flashy combat systems. And that's one of the things that I do appreciate about RuneScape for sure. Tommy saying, questing is challenging and requires a bit of patience. They are amazing because they teach you the history of RuneScape and how the areas around the game came to be and whatnot. I completely agree with that too, is like the lore. Can you imagine if somebody had the time, energy, and budget to just animate the RuneScape lore from just 1st to 6th age? And how much would you pay for that? No. But like, that would be amazing. I would love to see RuneScape the animated series. Like, I think they could really do something with the lore and the signature characters. They've grown on me. If you go back and listen to past podcasts, like back when they originally came out, I hated them and I thought they were the stupidest thing in the world. But over time, they've grown on me a little bit, especially with the introduction of Chronicle and things like that, where you get to kind of play as each of the signature heroes and whatnot. And there have been quests where you've gotten to play as them as well. I'm trying to make an excuse for the fact that I like this. Yeah, Gower Quest was fantastic. I loved the Gower Quest as well.
Everyone loved the Gower Quest.
Yeah,
that was my favorite. I got like 3.99s.
The hot memes in that quest. Oh, it was good. It's fresh. Let me.
I love that. I love that endless bloody. What's that room? The main room where all the NPCs were. It's just like a continuous loop. I loved it.
I want bank standing immediately. My bank standing level. RuneScape live action
series.
No,
I just
Netflix.
got 99 on my 27th skill. Don't bring in that as a bloody.
I
skill.
don't know if anyone's seen The Guild by Felicia Day. Like, I would love to see a RuneScape version of The Guild. Just call it The Clan, and then just do everything that they did, only make it around RuneScape. I think that would be beautiful. Anyway, if you're a producer, contact me. Let's get on that. Anyway, let me continue on this document, because it is like halfway done, and it sparked some good discussion, so let's see what else it can do for us here. So back to why I still love it. I can control my level of investment. I've got something to do. Setting the bar real high for yourself right there. I can still play the game and increase my abilities through the more AFK-esque abilities. If I want to experience more action, I could do something like Barrows or the God Wars dungeons. If I want to be competitive, there are mini-games for that. Well,
not anymore.
Well, if you say so. If I want cutthroat PvP... All right, let's just be honest. There's no cutthroat PvP.
No. There's 6 or 7 people you can do.
There is someone who will cut your throat in PvP, but there is not cutthroat PvP. There's training for all levels of involvement rather than being forced to focus on the game 24/7 to advance. And this kind of brings me to something that was important to me back then, but even more so important now. Drop tables. Not literally dropping tables, but monster drop tables. Ops got jokes here. So, in the most MMORPGs, you get the best gear by raiding, hoping it's drops, then rolling on the table to get them. Otherwise, it's grinding something a bunch of times. In RuneScape, where almost everything is tradable and economy is king, there's a sense of wonder when you're in combat. Almost everything you fight above is a certain point and has a chance to drop something awesome. something huge. In another MMO, you might have a 1% chance to get a weapon for your class that increases your damage output by 2%. In RuneScape, almost never will you get a drop for a weapon that's a pure upgrade over what you have, and that's okay. Instead, if you're rich beyond your wildest dreams, or you instead, I just screwed that up. Instead, if you get the drop, the shield, showing my age here, of the shield's left half, you will be rich beyond your wildest dreams. Yeah, I miss those. Funny enough, I never got a shield left half back when they were super, money makers, and now that they're not, I see them all the time.
Them now.
Yeah. And that kind of made me realize something that no other MMO does. Keeps lower level content relevant. In RuneScape, you don't get less experience when you fight a lesser monster. This means that if there's a specific drop you want, for example, the cremation ability, there's nothing worthy you can fight for it. For example, being free to play and fighting ghosts in the stronghold of security, they refuse to drop the ability. Why don't you drop it, damn it? You're still going to get a decent experience and get levels while fighting. And that's definitely something that I've appreciated about RuneScape, is being able to grind mobs onto your level so you can kind of AFK and not have to worry about that while still gaining XP. Not really a thing in a lot of other games. Got the left drop half yesterday. Congrats, Zenel. Are you rich beyond your wildest dreams yet? In other MMOs, let's see, it's kind of hard to explain, but RuneScape combines this sense of a whimsy and possibility in such a way that everything you do when you're in combat has a chance to do something incredible, or be something incredible, rather. This person's extremely optimistic about their combat drops. I don't feel that way when I go on a Slayer run. I think what adds to it is that death is kind of important. Not as cutthroat as it used to be, but still more intense than having to invest a bit of coin into repairing your items that lost 10% durability because you died, along with good old res sickness. A little World of Warcraft reference there for you. I disagree with that. I think the new death system is basically exactly the same as most other games. You die, you receive a gold penalty for dying, aka repair costs, and you move on with your life. Opposed to...
Which is so much better.
Yeah, and I mean, you have the option to go book it towards your items, yeah, but does anyone really do that, ever? I mean, I guess if your gear is non-degradable, you might make that effort, but I don't know many people who bothered. Honestly, I just look forward to looking to the rants posts about people who tried and double-graved themselves. Anyway, this next section is about combat, apparently, here, so we'll jump into that. Everyone knows my feelings on RuneScape combat, being a full-blown skiller for the past, basically since EOC came out, I became a full-blown skiller, aside from, having to obtain... max combat and Slayer and all that nonsense. They're not for eating, you maniac. Don't eat the cabbage. So again, combat. So this being an added posting, RuneScape's combat triangle is nothing at all like any other MMO ever. Not just because of the old click it and forget it combat, but because of how it's managed. Rather than focusing on healing magic and onus of damage being placed on the player, it's survival that the player focuses on. Not wanting to die is more important than maximizing damage. I think I have some people who might disagree with that, because death has big consequences. I also think I might have people that disagree with that. So rather than focusing in intense combat on playing the keyboard in your dance of skills, you would focus on item usage, namely food, and occasionally changing equipment in high-level play. Obviously referencing, switching gears and whatnot. Lexi, when you're out doing super high-level combat and whatnot, what are you most focused on? Not dying, the amount of DPS you're doing, or what? What is the main focus for you?
The amount of DPS I'm doing, I guess. I don't know.
I would.
And not dying. Well, mostly, honestly, it would have to be mechanics.
Yeah, focusing on what mechanics the boss is throwing at you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, say I'm doing Raxi, and you have to be on every 4 game ticks. It's gonna do something.
Sure.
So you gotta either my mind is blank right now.
Yeah, you
gotta freedom.
You gotta react to it, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, you could die in a second. So I'm more focusing on mechanics, I would say.
So
when I go to Virago, it's TL5 and stuff. You got to count. You can't just AFK stuff like that. You can once get in a rhythm, but that's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, you're paying attention to your environment is basically what I'm hearing. The most important thing is being aware of what's going on around you. So let's see here. Now, everyone knows that magic is the super damn unique one. You need to buy runes rather than use mana and chug mana potions to keep casting or work off a cooldown. And that's all well and interesting on its own, but the fact that magic was so different meant that the combat triangle wasn't just an equal rock, paper, scissors. Magic was king of PvP in the day, and free-to-play especially. Magic was the expensive one for training in combat, but the cheapest and least risk-driven one when it came to the wilderness. It was also far and way the most powerful of the triangle, because it didn't rely on level for damage, but the spell itself. So how do you compete? You have to create a melee pure, which is this thing that there's literally no comparison to any other MMO, like nothing even close. So how do you compete? You have to create MMO like any other. So one defense pure accounts existed solely because they could blitz down mages without armor, which would just shit on them. And melee was the only thing that really fleshed out in free-to-play anyways. Archers? Yeah, the only reason people would ever use them is to specifically kill mages, and sometimes use the armor because it was cheap, and switch to a bow sometimes. That was it. Except when it came to training. Ranged was kind of king, in free-to-play a bit, but in the lands of membership, oh boy, safe spotting. Remember when safe spotting was like the only way to train range? Those were good days. Another mechanic that really can't exist in other MMORPGs. The investment was relatively low, so it made training range worth it. You could grind for hours without needing food on monsters above your level, so long as the following criterion were met. First, they had to be melee only. Second, there had to be a safe spot where you couldn't be reached. This could be something simple, like a table to stand on the other side of, or a cave crevice that they couldn't reach you in. It all worked. But it meant that you couldn't pepper these bastards with arrows, go pick off half of them and pick them up, and never take damage. And the only risk to you was other players doing the same thing. So, while other MMOs would need everything to be perfectly balanced in the combat triangle, here, you could have all three and sometimes needed to. Melee was great for everyday combat, or if you were poor, but ranged had so many insane uses, and magic was so uniquely expensive and powerful that it changed so much. So while other MMOs would need everything to be perfectly balanced in the combat triangle, here, you could be all three, and sometimes you needed to be all three. Melee was great for everyday combat. I'm sorry, I just read that. Now, obviously, with EOC, they've normalized a lot of that, but I don't see it as either a good thing or a bad thing. You know, it's interesting that's been said about that. As far as the balancing of the combat triangles go, I would say that we've never been able to successfully balance the combat triangles, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You know, if everything is perfectly balanced, then everything can be completely countered equally. And if that's the case, there's no way to really catch anyone off guard in any specific situation, and you just lead to everyone constantly changing gear. And that applies mainly to a PvP scenario, but I don't know. Lexi, another question for you as far as bossing goes. High-tier bossing, you know, Rax, Rago, and raids and whatnot. But switches. Switches seems to be something that's been brought up a lot more than recently. People saying switches are unnecessary. Some people saying switches are, you know, only for the elite top few. In your experience, I know you do a lot of PVM with a lot of people. How often do you come across somebody who does what they call like sweaty weapon switches and just armor switches and whatnot?
Not very often. Not really until next AOD came out with is when switches became popular.
Gotcha.
So I went with David to Virago 2 days ago, and it's true he does a lot more DPS, but he is focusing on too much, and I got people in my clan, and you know it's not just like for elite PVMers. A lot of elite PVMers think it's try hard too, you know.
Sure.
But for something like Telos or AOD, yeah, it's you know. But I'm not gonna bring weapon switches to Virago or something that I think is try hard.
Fair enough.
It's not.
If you're not going for world record,
absolutely.
if you're not going for world record, you don't need to be producing insane weapon switches, which that is so relieving to me, because the idea of having to be that tryhard, I don't want to ever be that tryhard. And it's totally cool if you do, and you know, if you're going for world records and max DPS, That's cool. I respect that. But it is certain. I'm really glad that it's not a barrier of entry for like elite tier PVM, because that would just. I'm dissuaded enough that would just probably turn me off for good.
Honestly, I think it's kind of rude to do it Virago, you know, because everybody has a fair chance at a drop until one person brings like 5 different weapons and starts switching them all up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm like, really?
So
there's no
it's a
way
little
I'm
cheeky,
gonna
huh?
drop now, like whatever.
Oh, I see.
It's completely tryhard.
So when you're doing that, you're really just trying to bogart the drops, is what I'm hearing.
No, well, yeah, at something like Virago, but it's okay at raids when everybody gets their own drop.
Gotcha. Yeah. What about rots? Everyone gets their own at rots, right? Do you even need weapon switches at rots? I've done literally like 2 rots fights in my life, and I was carried through both of them just for the kill, so I have no rots experience.
Actually, weapon switches at rots might be a good idea. I haven't done it, and I haven't done rots in about a year, but I think that weapon switches would be very valuable there.
I remember
because there's a lot of stuff going on at once.
There is a lot of stuff. As someone who's only really witnessed rots from a leecher's perspective, just watching everything going on is kind of ridiculous and a little overwhelming if you don't know what's happening. Let's see here. I'll continue on. I'll wrap up here. He has the end section, and then we finally made it through this post. We are like an hour and a half in, and we've done like two posts. Okay, the end. So when people say that RuneScape is boring and ask me why I keep coming back and making new accounts, keep loving the damn thing despite it being boring and old, it's because it's got such heart. Sure, it's got problems, but the heart of the game is just too strong. Putting it in work to increase my skills and doing all the prerequisite quests just so I can go on a journey with Zanuck or a more alive character than any other MMORPG one more time is so damn worth it. Being able to finish Lost City and get that message telling me I can now wield a dragon longsword or dragon dagger, immediately equipping it and feeling like a badass who just achieved something great. And it wasn't handed to me. It's great. Figured out that you can take an unstrung bow and bowstring with you to Entrana and then string it when you get there. That's not explained anywhere. It's just something you can do. There's nothing like that in any other game. People say that RuneScape is full of grind, but it's at least varied. In something like World of Warcraft, every expansion is new content, but how many people are reading the quest dialogue? How many quests are retrieve X from Y or kill 50 of Z? Or kill the boss at the end of the cave? And yes, I know that WoW is a game about the end game and raiding, which has a great mechanics that are rarely recycled, but even then you'll be doing those raids multiple times. Then there's daily quests, which are somehow even more shallow than killing 15 boars. So in the end, RuneScape is an MMORPG about the journey to completion, something that most people will never reach. And that's okay. Why? Because the journey is fucking incredible. There you go. I agree. The journey is what it's about. And if you are willing to put in to the journey, I think what you get out of it is going to be tenfold. I love this game. 16 years and counting. And no plans to stop. And I've never had another game that's been able to hold my attention as long as RuneScape. So that was a good read. Any final thoughts on RuneScape and how it's different, why it's different, and why that's good or bad? Or should we continue along to another discussion?
I just had a friend come back yesterday that I knew I used to play with 7 years ago, and he's like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. Anytime someone comes back from like 5+ years of absence, yeah, it's always funny to see their reactions. Like, what happened to RuneScape?
He's like, "I have a mill, and when I left, a mill was so much, and now I literally can't like buy anything."
I know. Oh, it's crazy. Mage playing RuneScape.
I told him 1 bill's the new 1 mil.
Right? It is. Seriously, sadly. Let's see here.
So confused.
This next post is... So, first of all, let me preface this with, if you haven't listened to the Wednesday show, do yourself a favor and do that, because we cover RuneScape Addiction in a much broader light. You can do so at Magebit.tv. That's our YouTube channel. You can find past videos on our Facebook as well. I don't know how long Facebook videos stay up for, but it's still there last time I checked. And of course, Runescape.today for the podcast. But anyway, we talked about Runescape Addiction on our last show as somebody who was very angry at Jagex about what Jagex had done to their life. And the post was deleted by Reddit moderators, but, you know, we're special.
It was a great one.
It was a good post. It was ridiculously just over the top, which is probably why it got deleted in the first place. But this post was posted by Fizzy Fusion 4 days ago, and it's called Runescape Addiction Causing Apathy. So, again, I would consider this an extension of the debate we had last time. You may hear us rehash some of the same ideas, but it's still worth a listen to both, I think. So let's get into this. These being a little more down-to-earth, as in it hasn't been deleted by moderators because he didn't call the game repugnant in the title. But let's begin here. So he says, RuneScape used to be a casual game for me. I'd play for maybe an hour, maybe two when I was younger, and I wasn't too concerned with leveling or PVMing or questing. I had fun and I was focused on school. Fast forward about 6 years, taking 2 AP classes, next year 4, and I have a heavy RuneScape addiction. I've been keeping consistent grades of 90s, but I've realized that my actual understanding on the work is non-existent. I don't know how to answer basic comprehension questions on any of it. I go home, play RuneScape for about 2 hours, do my homework for 1 hour, and play more RuneScape. Lately I've gotten a few shit marks, but I don't even care. I see the number and it doesn't even matter to me. I realize this might be a little silly to some people, some dumb gaming addiction, but it's stressful to think about how this is going to affect me. I do actually want to stop myself from playing so much. So do any of you experience the same as me and actually have a way to limit RuneScape time or just try harder in school? So he edits the post and says, I want to thank everyone for sharing their personal experiences and stories. I'm trying to take what I can away from them and apply them to my own situation. I suppose I do place RuneScape achievements above what I accomplish in real life, but discipline is a major lack in my life. I do have hobbies I can get started on, and now's the time to start to force myself to find something better than video games. What I guess I'm starting to realize is that, well, video games aren't bad if they're what you really enjoy. I'll still continue to play RuneScape, but I'm going to start going off on discovering new interests. I mean, right there is pretty much what you need to do. It's all about your mental attitude about the situation. It's about you not letting the compulsion control you. Like, someone brought up a valid point on our last video on YouTube in the comments section about the difference between addiction and compulsion, I believe. And I'm sorry if I'm quoting it correctly. I will try and pop into my community here and see if I can actually just read the comment, because I think it was a valid comment. This is from Child of Gillinor, who says, I know people are going to want to call me out on this, but I feel like I should comment anyway. I believe the reason psychologists were telling you the video games aren't addictive is because studies show that gamers show symptoms of compulsion rather than addiction. The major difference between the two is pleasure. When a person gets to the point that they need help, studies indicate that gamers are playing games as a form of escapism to avoid discomfort rather than enjoyment purposes. Addiction is an act of pleasure, while compulsion pleasure isn't the primary goal. How accurate these studies are, I can't say. It's just something that I've researched back in college. One way to look at it is this. Addictions are like illnesses, while compulsion is rather a symptom. To get over an illness, you must cleanse the body of it, while in order to get over a negative symptom, you need to cure whatever is causing it. Those studies I mentioned before showed that the video game compulsion is in most cases due to social problems, things like lack of communication with family, lack of friends, bullying, etc. So I do agree with that for the most part. Is the compulsion to become addicted to or the compulsion to game can look like addictive behavior, and I would say that I game for pleasure for the most part. I mean, is that not what gaming is mainly for? Is to become pleasurable? When you're no longer gaming for pleasure and you're gaming to escape from your real life, I can understand how that can become a problem if it's done to an excessive level. I think escapism is a useful tool in moderation. Everyone needs, I mean, that's what a vacation is. It's escapism from your everyday life, right? Everyone deserves a little bit of escapism in their life. And I understand that there is a compulsion there that if you have other things to do and you can't focus on those other things because you're playing RuneScape and that's the only thing that you can pay attention to, then yeah, that compulsion is driving you to a state that looks like you are addicted to the video game. Mentally, you very well might be. You may not be able to put it down. And I think hashtag Deborino on this main post has some pretty good responses here. And if you want to chime in, feel free to. Crew Chief says, my wife is a psychologist and social worker, and they did discuss gaming addiction in her classes at school, she told me. I believe the DSM handbook will include it in the next edition. That is really cool to hear that they're putting it into the DSM in the next edition. I really hope they do, because I understand that there's two types. There are multiple types of addiction. There is physical addiction. There is mental addiction. Depending, and I don't think you can be physically addicted to RuneScape, Your body can't really become dependent upon a game. However, there are studies that show that blue light, your body can become, can adapt to the blue light of your monitors. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I've noticed that I started off with one monitor, in 2000, and it's grown to 4 monitors. So there might be something behind the whole monitor addiction with light thing, because I'm surrounded by screens, and it didn't used to be like that. But half joking there. Anyway, let me read what hashtag Derperino has to say, because I feel as though they have some interesting knowledge. This is really long, so I'm not going to read all of it here, but I will read some of it. And they say, what works for any given person will vary widely. I'm going to talk about a bunch of different things, and I might not work for you specifically, but it's rather general advice. Any piece might help you, and hopefully it does, but if it doesn't, don't worry. Everything's. That's the thing about psychology, is it's hit or miss. Some things work for one person, and they don't work for another person, and that's just psych. So let's see here. Exit points. In a different game, you might hit a save point and think, great, that's a fine place to stop. On RuneScape, things are at best nebulous. There is no save point. Every point's a save point, so it loses all meaning. All you have is an arbitrary point a person might decide to stop. So the first thing I'd recommend is give yourself an exit. Gain X amount of XP? Okay, pack it in. Complete a quest? Alright, time to do something else. Finish Slayer? Great. Get another one tomorrow. Hell, if you want to be blunt about it, play X amount of minutes? Okay, time to change things up. So I think that's a great point. Setting goals, setting an exit point, right? Having a goal in RuneScape for that day, and not being like Magebit and saying I need 1 million divination experience a day, because then you're going to be playing for 10 hours. That's not a reasonable goal. So setting reasonable goals for yourself each day, but still obtaining those goals will hopefully provide you with the level of satisfaction that you're looking for, and then freeing up that time to find other things that will also bring you satisfaction, right? I think that's a good idea. Has anyone on the show had problems stopping playing RuneScape at any time in their RuneScape careers?
No. I exactly what that guy says. I mean, I'll set myself a goal and that's it. And like the other day when I was doing the quest, it was like, I'm getting tired. Listen, I'm just going to stop this now, finish it tomorrow. And which annoyed me because there was like only about 10 or 15 minutes left after I logged out.
That's my problem, is if I stop a quest, the likelihood of me resuming it becomes exponentially
no, I was just...
you're not me, thank God.
But that's the thing. I mean, you've just got to know limits, and setting personal goals is the best way. That's the way I play the game. What do I feel like today? Okay, I want to do some Slayer. I'm going to go and do 3 Slayer tasks today. And then, I might do some mining or go and do some divination, just get some energy and things like that. And just, I think, and that's the one thing Lex was saying before, XP waste. See, I look at it as a game as a relaxation for myself. So it's what I feel like doing when I feel like doing it, whether I want to gain a lot of XP, whether I just want to get, some resources together and things like that. It's the beauty of the game, is you can just do all that what you want to do.
I agree. When I was younger, I had a harder time setting limits on myself than I do now. Now it's like, okay, I gotta go do an errand, I gotta drive someone somewhere, I gotta be at this place at X time. I have an appointment, I have to go. Like, it's much easier for me to just be like, all right, it's time to do life.
And that's it. I mean, for those sort of first-time listeners, I am 46 years old, so it's probably back when I was younger, I was probably a lot more addictive and that type of thing, where I would, I used to play poker and I could sit up for, 30, 36 hours straight, doing that.
Sure. That's a bad habit. Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
My dad actually had addiction problem to RuneScape.
Really?
Yeah, it got really, really bad. He stopped going to work, and we owned a business and had to file for bankruptcy. He wouldn't pay the bills. All he would pay was the internet bill. And my mom, my sister, and me ended up moving out, and he just sat there and played RuneScape until I got evicted.
That is a very sad story, but it's a very real thing that can happen. Like I've seen.
Yeah. He used to pay me $5 per quest. And I never got to experience, you're talking about earlier, the first joy of being a member, because my dad was a member and I wasn't. So I just got to play on his account here and there.
No.
And then when I got membership, it was a lot more special because I'd already been around everywhere.
So now we know why you hate quests.
Yeah, it comes from childhood. Comes from childhood torment.
Trauma. Yeah.
Live psychology on the air right now. Let me read some of Crew Chief's comments here because they're really good. He says, "I had issues feeling like RuneScape was a chore rather than fun. Feeling I had to do daily challenges or other dailies. I had to cap at the Citadel every week. I had that same problem with Destiny as well. But I've learned how, when I play games, if I find myself saying I have to do something or I need to do something, I don't do it. I do what I want to do rather than what I feel I should do, or else it begins to feel like a chore rather than fun." I completely agree with that. And again, he has validator points here where he says, I need to go to work, I need to spend time with my wife, but I don't need to play video games, so that's where I have to adjust my thinking. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's... And our thinking, our thought process can get... It's amazing, the power of words. The power of what your brain is telling you versus what is actually true. Is saying that need solidifies over time in your mind, where then you actually begin to believe that you need to do those things, and you'll get a real physiological response from your body if you start not doing it. It can manifest in the form of anxiety, insomnia, restlessness, irritability, because your brain feels like it's not doing things that it should be doing, when in fact you've just kind of, convinced your brain that non-essential things are essential. Anyway, let me move on. Variety. Simply put, do more things. I mean, you could pretty much end it there, right? Often an exit point is useless if you think, now what? And you'll just sit back down to RuneScape in a few minutes, but if you have something else to be excited about, you won't do that. So again, setting exit points is important, but then having other hobbies, having work to do, having, things that are, positive and constructive to work on besides RuneScape are obviously an important thing to set. So if you've gotten to the point where you can set exit points, it's time to find other constructive things to do if you don't have them already, for sure. Friends and family, it may be embarrassing to tell your friends or family or both that you're feeling like that, but you should, if you're having a real issue. But if you want to read through the rest of this, feel free to. It's good information. If you feel like what we're talking about applies to anything in your life, check out that post. Check out our previous posts. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, I gotta log in for this one. It must be a rant. Hang on. Is our next post seriously a rant? No, it's not. Is this a rant? Why? No, it's in general forums. Why did I have to log in to see this post? God damn it, Jagex. I am so sick of the RuneScape forums. Let me just quickly catch up with chat before we begin our next post. Okay. The official shifting of your thinking that way is called cognitive... Yeah, CBT, for sure. Yep, so cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy is fantastic. If you have any problems with gaming addiction, or just you have an addictive personality in general, learning CBT... it can be a great tool to control or reprogram your brain. I also have I like psychology. Let's leave it at that. I'm a pretty big fan. So yeah, definitely heard about that stuff. Anyway, moving on to our next post. And again, still kind of on the topic of social. Are you social or a loner? Asks Transcended. This is coming from the RuneScape official forums. And they say, I was wondering, are more people social on RuneScape or more loners? By loner, I don't mean necessarily you hate people, but you just tend to do things alone rather than in a group. For example, I'm not in a clan, and I do dungeoneering solo mostly, and playing as an Iron Man is almost no different than how I play on any of my other accounts, except I can use the GE on my other accounts and pick things up that other people drop. I'm not the most social person, but if someone PMs me, I will answer, but I rarely am the person to PM PM someone else first, which I think can be valid if you're an introvert. I would say if people make me feel drained and I need to go away from people to recharge, but I like being around people for short amounts of time. I heard others are opposite and feel charged up by being around other people and being drained if they are around them too long. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are, with 1 being total loner and 10 being very social? First off, I'm an introvert. Big surprise maybe to many of you who listen to the podcast. I'm not good at public speaking. I have, to do this show for 3-4 hours a day is extremely taxing on me, and I don't want, and generally, I will, shut down for a good 3, 4, 5 hours after the show, but to recharge before I'm ready to handle people again. So I completely understand where Transcendent's coming from. If I had to say on a scale of 1 to 10, though, I'm probably a big fat 5 or 6. Because despite the fact that, again, I do consider myself an introvert and I do need energy to recharge, and I like being around people for short bursts of time as well, I do put myself out there socially, but I do shut down as well, when I'm kind of off the air, if you will. Pern, what are your thoughts? Do you consider yourself social, or do you consider yourself a loner?
Oh, I actually answered this one. I found this one on Wednesday, and I'll just read out what I actually typed in there. I said, personally, I am a loner. I much prefer myself to get things done. If I stuff up, I haven't let anyone else down, and if someone else messes up, then I'm not penalised. This is why I much prefer solo boss encounters to group ones, and why I have a severe aversion to raids and rots. I'm often in a friend's chat, and I'm in a good-sized clan, and we are often talking in there. I will happily join in discussions and give out help when requested, but I'm not usually one to start the conversation. My public chat is usually on, but again, I won't be the player who starts a conversation, but I won't ignore others who aren't just trolling while playing.
For sure. My
dungeoneering was 95% solo to level 120. But that probably came from the toxicity of joining random groups when I was first learning to run them in groups at around 50 to 60. I enjoy doing them with clan members, but it wasn't often that we got a team of 5 all wanting to do it at the same time on the same floors. I also co-host a fan-based podcast on YouTube and iTunes, and that's where we talk about the weekly updates and RS in general, and love doing that. But it is not something that I would normally do in life, as I'm pretty much a loner outside of RS2. I gave myself about a 4. But that's exactly it. I mean, I really am a loner in life, and in the game. I just prefer. Yeah, I preferred. I like spending time with my family and my kids and such. But I hate. I like to be home. I hate going out, and I hate people just dropping in unannounced. That is one of my pet hates. Where family members or your friends will just drop in and not ring and say, hey, we're going to come over and such, so I can sort of prepare myself.
When my doorbell rings, I get an anxiety. If I'm not expecting somebody, I'm like, what?
It just really gets me.
For sure.
So yes.
How about you, Lexi? Do you consider yourself a loner or a socialite?
I go home so I could be an introvert, so I could be an extrovert. That's pretty much. I have so many people that I know, and so many people that I talk to, and so many Discords, so many TeamSpeaks. I just float around everywhere, and then by the time I get back around, they're like, "You've been gone forever,"
Yeah, I noticed that about you. You show up.
I come in cycles.
Yeah, you do. You really do. You show up that makes, now that you've actually said that, it actually makes so much more sense, because you'll show up and you'll be around, you'll hang out for a couple of weeks, you'll be gone for a month, and then you'll come back and hang out again. And
it's just I have so many people that I talk to, and so many different social groups and stuff on RuneScape, and I'm in Zezima clan, so I go. I do that for a while, and it's just a whole cycle.
Is Zezima a real person?
Yes, he is a real person.
Yeah, I've been spreading the rumor that Zezima is not real.
Oh, he's real. He's real as you or me. He streams old school. You can watch him stream old school and stuff.
Cool. Yes, he does, but he doesn't talk. At least I've never seen him talk.
He talks in Discord, but he does not talk on stream. He talks while he's streaming, but he doesn't talk on stream.
Okay. So what about you? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lexi. Continue.
if you subscribe to his Twitch, you can actually get his Discord link.
Oh yeah, cool. I should do that. I should show up and start harassing him. Someday we'll get him on the show. Even if he only answers in text form or speech synthesis, I'm totally down for a Stephen Hawking version of
I've
Zezima.
tried.
I know.
I believe me, but I'm trying not to get kicked from my clan at the same time.
Yeah, of course. I know. I tease most of the time. So I think it's safe to say that Lexi is a straight 11 when it comes to the social versus a loner.
I'm like the Mod Shani of RuneScape.
You mean it's your
Social
birthday?
level.
So.
Oh yeah, it's always my birthday. Thank you.
How about you, DX? What do you consider yourself? Scale of 1 to 10. Loner? Extrovert? What are you?
I think I'm more of a loner kind of thing. I enjoy, hanging, being by myself in certain areas. I don't mind if people talk to me, I'll talk back. But if no one talks to me, I just don't talk. I'm one of those people.
Yeah. I mean, again, I would say that's like a straight 5, right? It's like you'll respond if people, talk to you, but you don't actively go looking for, in-depth conversation or just to randomly spark up conversations with people. I just say the younger I was, the more likely I was to spark conversations with random people. Nowadays, I don't really do that anymore. Like, I've been at Divination, 95 Divination with on World 65 specifically for 11 months, and I have added one person to my friends list. And I know probably about 10 regulars there, and one of them has made it onto my friends list in almost 11 months, 10 and a half months. So
is that friend the Divination Wisp?
That friend is actually Guthix. I rebuilt him with all the energy that I've gotten over the past year. There's the millions of energy.
Rebuild him.
I've reconstructed him out of some clay. Anyway, we got plenty of topics. We can keep going here. This one was crazy. This blew up Reddit a few weeks ago, and they've made another post. And I want to talk about this seriously now because this specific item got a whole lot of hate and love at the same time, so they've made a new post about it. It says it's by AO Dude, who says, design a treasure hunter promo that would make our RuneScape explode, would also sell loads of keys. So they were having a fun conversation in Clan about the most controversial treasure hunter promo that they could come up with. Figured, why not see what our RuneScape could come up with? And his idea was make X tokens purple gem 1 weekend only. For clarity, the token would permanently unlock Make X on High Alchemy spell, not consumable stack of tokens like Spirit of Battle. And, so, basically an item that would be Treasure Hunter only for 1 weekend. Obviously, it would probably come back occasionally on Second Chance Tuesdays and whatnot, but it was a rare item, so the rarest in the game. And it would... Can you imagine the amount of keys it would take just to try and get that one item? So...
Pay to win.
That would be the most pay-to-win thing I think I may have ever heard of. Like, locking an item that's behind Treasure Hunter that creates a new ability that allows you to AFK alchemy, basically. Basically, it would legitimize auto-clicking in the game, is what it would do. Only it would take, the third-party program out of the system. But on a more serious note, why isn't this just a thing that we can earn in the game? Like, I don't honestly think that Make X on High Alchemy is OP. I think, if anything, it's giving people an opportunity to not end up with a repetitive stress injury on their hand. But I personally don't see the problem with this if it's not a treasure hunter item. If it was a treasure hunter item, I think we would be having some sort of protest on World 66. I see a lot of people... Yep. Go ahead,
Lexi.
Okay, go ahead, Lexi.
Go ahead, Pern.
Okay. I was to say, I like DePerino's two of his answers. A quest completion token and the RNG booster, specifically styled heavily as a piece of invention content. And to add into the ultimate, it would increase your chance of getting rare untradables significantly. Comp requirement items like Last Riders, Skilling and Boss Pence, etc.
If that degraded to dust, was like a charged item, had like 10 charges, that would be insane. And also, I would quit. But it would be insane. I don't even know how I would handle it. Quest completion tokens. I mean, you're barking up the right tree. But yeah, that also would. Everything on this list makes me pretty much would maybe reconsider my my place in the MMO sphere. Elite skilling outfits with a 12% XP boost, with lots of small upgrades to various skilling activities, exclusively through Treasure Hunter. Ugh. Oh, no more.
I like Treasure Hunt.
A lucky comp cape.
A lucky comp cape. What is it? Tell me precisely what a lucky comp cape does, please. I want to know.
It'd be a comp cape that you get forever. You don't have to actually
you don't have to work for it.
That's right. You just keep
never
it
lose
forever. Exactly.
and you do the emote on it, and it just comes up with the words "lucky" on the top or on the bottom.
Just a giant shamrock just bursts out of the ground, just sprays freaking Guinness
You're
everywhere.
Standing on top of it.
Green shamrock particles.
Oh yes, the green shamrock particles coming out of the cape. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Zenel saying, most insane imaginal treasure hunter promo, an item which allows you to buy and equip the trimmed comp cape. Yeah, see, no need for requirements. We were right on spot with that one. Good work. Oh, I'm keeping you awake, Sarah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. So I don't know. I don't want to think too much about this, lest they start developing these things. One good thing I can say is as far as treasure hunter goes, is the Mimic is coming into the game permanently, probably this year.
I think it's coming in March, actually.
Yeah.
It's coming in this month.
I don't know if it is. I say this year because I don't know an exact date, but it very well might be March, because it was a TAP project. I don't know if it was one of the ones they got funded or not, as far as like more resources than TAP time. But I want to see the Mimic in game as a regular boss. That was a really fun boss.
Only as long as they
Didn't we see it at Lumbridge when that thing happened?
They showed us a video of it, but that's about it. Pern?
I was just saying, only if they improve the mechanics down there and the lag that happens all the time when you're trying to escape from things and you just sit there for 3 seconds before you jump away. And
yeah, that just sounds like typical RuneScape bullshit to me.
That's
why I don't combat.
You could tell it was developed by the MTX team and not the actual combat team, because it just
really.
How
maybe
bad
that's
the
what they're
mechanics
trying
were.
to like fix. I don't know. I hope. And no one wants a laggy boss. That's for sure. Anyway, speaking of...
Anyway, I gave my idea. My idea was a pre-EOC token. So yeah, just make Jack rich right there.
Just disable it. Just deletes EOC from your client, and just all your hits are just super high. That would be awesome. Just
see, I just made Jagex rich.
300% buff to all melee auto attack, or all auto attacks. Just there you go. Anyway,
forward. There you go.
We got another post here for you. Going back to the RuneScape official forums. This one's by Gabby Wabby. And it's called The Cost of Cost. Very meta. I like it. The title is rather enigmatic, but this is more of an open discussion about the health of the game's economy, where everything is now based on various types of efficiency, the big two being cost efficient and XP efficient. Let's start with prayer. Prayer is a skill no one really trains it after maxing. I just spent like 55 hours training prayer for double XP weekend. Those that do usually go for the XP achievement, as the skill's usefulness literally stops at 99. Prayer is also...
I was to say, every skill's usefulness literally stops at 99.
Dungeoneering and invention, but I'll give it to you. I'll give you the... Yeah.
Every real skill, I mean, dungeoneering is not a skill, and
does that
mean invention they sort of call an elite skill.
So when Slayer goes to 120, can I stop? Can I say it's not a skill anymore, please?
No.
By that logic?
No, I said elite skill. When it goes to 120, it becomes an elite skill.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll give you that. We're playing semantics here.
Yes.
Let's see here. Prayer. Where was I?
You just like to hate on my bloody.
I do.
Slayer.
You know I do, and you know I do. Prayer is it's a very unpopular opinion, which is why I voice it as much as possible. Prayer is also a consumable skill that doesn't produce anything other than unlock various prayers at different levels. As more and more players approach max level, the need for consumable prayer items to train the skill begins to decrease, affecting the PvM activity that so many people enjoy doing. The question is simple: how do we make this a skill relevant even as it is completed by everyone? I mean, everyone. Come on. There's a lot of accounts. Anyway, a theoretical, I can't say that word today, apparently, situation is as such. If RuneScape was a game to last for infinity, how do we ensure that all skills are relevant even when 100% of players are already maxed out with 200 million XP in a skill? What? Okay.
Make them 5.4 billion in a skill.
Yeah, right? Just increase the amount of XP, or like we've talked about in previous episodes, I really like the idea of XP redirection. It seems as though it could have some possible flaws that would need to be corrected as far as XP rates go, but I still think it would be interesting. I think certain XP from certain skills should not be as valuable as other XP from other skills because of the ease of gaining XP in certain skills versus other skills. Blah, 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 blah. That's not what we're here to discuss. Let's see here. So for prayer and the consumable drops based on... Did I skip over that? Yeah, no, okay. So for prayer and the consumable drops based on PVM that are needed to train the skill, how do we address this end of life by making it into an ecological cycle that makes the drops for the skill worthwhile no matter how many players are already maxed? Well, that's why you need to open up things like masterworking. Like, I think masterworking and smithing is a fantastic way to continue requiring materials beyond 99 while still producing valuable things for the game, keeping the cost of those lower level items up, etc., etc. I think every skill needs a similar rework, and every skill it's going to need to be done majorly differently. I mean, you have a gathering skill like mining, you have an artisan skill like smithing, and then you have a support skill like prayer, all requiring very different ways to continue use. Like, for instance, mining necessarily is producing items for you, so you don't need to worry as much about its post-99 use. You just want to make sure at 99... What? Yeah, go ahead. Burn, you want to interject there?
Though, to make...
Oh, you're breaking up. Start over. Try that again.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, it just went red for some reason. I was just saying, what would you do for prayer, though, to sort of have mastery in that skill? I'm trying to think myself.
Yeah, like if you're asking me if you're asking me to come up with something right on the spot, I can certainly try.
Yeah.
So we have prayer, right? What is prayer's primary use here? Okay, prayer is a support skill. I don't know if it's technically defined as a support skill, but I'm going to call it one because it supports combat. So it supports combat, it supports skilling. And as far as mastery goes, okay, well, when you're performing prayer to get XP, what are you doing? You're either cleansing crystals, you're burning bones, you're cremating something, yada yada yada. What can be done post 99 to make prayer still valuable? Well, I think prayer can be used possibly to imbue things beyond 99. A masterworking of items, like for instance, you could make certain things holy or whatever using prayer, or cursed on the opposite side of things. And these items would be similar to how I'm going to borrow from the smithing rework here and say that these items are going to take 40 to 80 hours to complete maybe one of, and then one of them only has like a 2 or 3 hour charge, maybe 4 hour charge. Maybe the charge even depends on your level of mastery. So a level 0 mastery means you get 1 hour, level 2 mastery produces a 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the amount of hours. And I'm sure that should probably cap at maybe 5 or 6 hours or so to, so eventually you don't make an item that's stupidly powerful and can last for legitimately a year, because that would be kind of silly. But diminishing returns, I think, might have to be something that you take into account there. And again, I literally just pulled that out of my ass. I'm sure a round table of game designers could probably come up with a better solution than that. But I'm just throwing that out there to say that I think that you could do something, as kind of ramshackle as that idea might be. Things like that, like having, especially if we want to introduce new bosses into the game, harder bosses with new mechanics, having these items that could give you special little buffs, similar to scrimshaws, right? But maybe they activate from your inventory, so they don't take, they take an inventory space instead of your pocket slot, right? Or maybe they're consumable and it lasts for X amount of hours of being logged in. That's also, dependable or dependent possibly either on Jagex or could be dependent upon your mastery level. I don't know. But that's probably all I can really think of right off the spot.
That's it. It's more than I could have thought of.
I mean, literally, as I was thinking of prayer, and the reason why I was just spewing out like how prayer works and whatnot was just to try and buy time for myself so I could think of something. Because it's not easy, and this is why Jagex has delayed the mining and smithing rework for a year. Is because doing things like that in a 15, 16-year-old game requires care and attention. Or I mean, we've all seen what happens when you pull the bottom block out. You know, when you're playing, you know, is that Jenga? I can't remember the name of that game. But yeah, you pull the block. When you pull the bottom block out, you risk toppling the whole thing. Even if you're going to replace that bottom block with something else, like you still have to pull the bottom block out. So you got to be really careful when you're doing that. Thank you, DX. It is Jenga. Cool. Yeah, you got to be really careful when you're doing that. And I admire their lack of rushing in, for lack of a better term there. I appreciate how careful and slow that they are being as far, to insert this content into the game, because if it was just thrust upon us, it could have very well been disastrous for everybody and, hurt the health of the long-term game. So, and anytime we look at a system like, a cost-efficient or an XP-efficient system or whatever, you have to be very careful when you're going to change that. But I do think every skill should have a cost-efficient method and an XP-efficient method. Do I want max XP? Do I want to make money? Or do I want to save money? Whatever. I feel like every skill should have an option to not break the bank, but be really slow and attentive, and an option that does break the bank, but I could go make a cup of coffee and do whatever the hell I want. Watch Netflix. Who cares? That's the major thing that I think every skill needs to cater to both audiences, and the reward should scale the more you are willing to put in. And I think that is a base mechanic that I think should carry over to pretty much everything. More work, more XP. Less work, less XP. It's a very simple equation. He continues on here, though. It says, that is where I think invention comes into play. A skill that was introduced to make things better by removing or disassembling what were obsolete items to obtain various parts or components, then refurbishing them of sorts and combining them using a fusion Ha method, or like an alchemist, we were able to produce a full usable product from an assortment of what was once useless things. The problem? We don't have enough of these in the game, as invention came out as a sort of disaster to what was presented at RuneFest 2015, like the eyeball gore long. Yeah, that was they kind of scrapped anything that was cool in invention, as far as we're gonna make cool, unique hybrid items. That kind of got dropped for a more easily implementable system of here's a set amount of perks, here are the items that can be augmented, go wild, mix match, have fun.
Give us our pie makers and herb cleaner machines.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
I mean, they slapped me in the face one more time this year by putting the herb recycler or the herb cleaner into a damn cape perk.
Yeah.
Like that was just a kick in the freaking balls.
I saw that. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw that perk. I meant to ask about that on Wednesday.
Oh,
well, there goes our herb cleaning machine.
Yeah, right? Oh, that was very disappointing. But don't worry, we'll get the pie maker, I'm sure. Invention was definitely gutted. Calling it a disaster, I think, is a little bit of a hyperbole. It definitely had a rough start. Like, shit was not in place week one. Day one was really interesting. But I wouldn't say that invention has completely failed. I would say invention has probably failed marginally, like 33%. I would say is just utter failure.
Failed is an elite skill.
It failed to interest skillers. I'll give you that. It definitely gave people on PVM an easier time if they can afford to equip those perks. As far as bumping up world records, giving people the edge that they maybe needed in combat. Lexi, speaking of combat, how often do you use perked gear? Do you always use perk gear? Never use perk gear?
Yeah, I have perks on my gear. It's something that you pretty much have to do if you want to keep up with DPS these days.
That's what I figured.
David's also in here.
Oh, hey David. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
How important to you are perks, if you're in a position to talk? I don't know if you're in a position to talk.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, perks are hugely beneficial. They make a gigantic difference, especially in more difficult scenarios where lots of DPS is required.
Do you think the combat ceiling, as far as mechanical difficulty, could have increased without perks, or do you think perks were pretty much instrumental in being able to bring in more difficult game mechanics for bossing?
Well, it would just make more difficult mechanics
Take longer to do. Or take
take a
longer
lot longer. Yeah.
So as
Really,
far
perks speed everything up, and it also has made some things possible. So really, Duo Virago is the best example. Post buff, nobody got a duo successfully until Invention came out.
okay.
And now,
That 4-minute AOD kill.
Yeah.
yeah, 1 minute AOD. That's pretty good.
Are there any
Some of my
perks
friends
that are
tried to
not
replicate that
just?
method, we
Are there
didn't
any
get
perks
quite
that are
that good.
not just expediting combat and instead that are adding tactical value to combat? That's a loaded question.
What do you mean?
So instead of just like, okay, crackling is a straight DPS increaser, whereas planted feet, in my original understanding of it, increased, abilities, like ultimate abilities when standing still. I would consider that tactical versus the other one just straight DPS increase.
So
but I know
for
they
example,
changed
I bring a flanking switch everywhere I go now, and basically 0 exceptions. So
I see.
flanking switches are if you're to the side of or behind the boss, or even in front of the boss in a certain angle, you switch to flanking for impact and deep impact, or whatever your stunning abilities are, and it's a significant DPS boost for those abilities. So it gives you an edge if you're like fighting for DPS on phase 1 of Rocco with someone else, and you have a flanking switch and they don't. You can usually beat them with an identical rotation.
Okay, so there's value beyond just straight DPS increase with, and that's what if we're gonna keep adding new invention perks to PVM specifically, I want to see things that are conditional, that are used mainly in certain circumstances over other circumstances, just not because I want to be an asshole, but to add spice, and so you have to make a real decision, like, do I want this on my weapon or do I want this on my weapon?
Well,
What's going to happen is people are going to get multiple weapons, and they're going to add different perks for different bosses.
So that. And my goal is exactly that, for the market to then demand more of those augmentable weapons. What I fear, though, is that also breeds a heavy possible requirement of weapon switching, which I don't think I don't think should be the end all be all. I think if you're weapon switching, to that extent, it should be because you're trying to be literally the very best versus somebody who's just trying to maybe have fun to make some money.
If you look at, you got lit up sub 4-minute next kill.
Sure.
He's got his main hand Drygor, 3 separate offhand Drygors, 1 for regular abilities, 1 for bleeds, 1 for stuns, and he switches between all 3 of them. Then he's got his Zero's God Sword for all of the 2-handed abilities, and then he has a Scythe for AoE, and then he has a Defender for when he has multiple minions on him or whatever to build revenge stacks and do a lot of DPS with that. So he's got he's got 7 weapons plus Excalibur. So really he's got 8 weapons.
That's insanity.
Screw that.
Oh, and a Statius Warhammer. So that's 9 weapons that he's using.
That's like a third of your inventory is just weapons.
Well,
yeah, but
Go ahead, Lexi.
the thing is that you don't need to bring as much food if you have that much DPS. It's basically DPS over damage. Yeah,
and you can get that health back from the DPS that you're doing if you're doing it correctly, I assume, which is, for me, unlikely. Anyway, let me continue on with this document here, and we can continue to respond. He says, moving on from invention, what other things we can make good use of junk equipment? After all, it's like food. But food is always useful and always required, even though it has end of life, and there isn't a cycle to it, hence making it a sustainable source of income for PVMing. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that statement. I know plenty of people who don't use food at all, or very little food, so I don't really know if I completely agree with his food analysis here. But he says, besides that, can we not be so GP focused? Are we able to have a skill that isn't based on how gold efficient or XP efficient, rather that it is useful and hence gives the item value? I mean, that's pretty meta. His example says ghostly essences to attune the ectoplasmator. So again, the item itself, and I don't agree with this because ghostly essence is in and of itself kind of, or it used to be pretty valuable to sell. Like you can sell that stuff. Yeah, so I think his own argument is kind of self-defeating here, because he says to not be so GP focused, and then gives an example of a monster that drops a pretty expensive item regularly that, yeah, it does charge your ectoplasmator, but it charges anyone else's too if you're willing to sell it. So there's potential gold gain there. And I don't think that you can get away from the pure fact that this is a live, open, free economy. Time equals money. Therefore, whatever you're doing, investing your time in, is either making or costing you money. Hands down. That's just how that's how economics work in a free economic system. I'm sorry. So I don't see how you can stray from that model without becoming extremely poor. He says, can we have bones work in a similar fashion? He says, I'm well aware of the Demon Hunter necklace, but it is limited and vastly by PVM activities. What about the bank standard that made junk and refined components of value? Can we have bones or ashes work in such a way that makes them useful as food? Can we have bones or ashes work? I would say that they kind of do if you have the demon horn necklace. I mean, when else do you need food? Like, why are you so bent on having something that is not in relation to PVM when food is really only used in PVM? Like, this argument to me, is it me or is this person just talking in circles and not really saying anything?
Yeah, make a good politician.
Yeah, right? This is exactly what I don't understand here is cost efficient, XP efficient. Those are your two playstyle choices. Pick one. Lexi, I would probably say, is XP efficient. I would say I'm cost efficient. Pern, I'd say you're probably a hybrid. Maybe I'm wrong. DX?
I am definitely not GP efficient, and I am not XP efficient.
All right, so, sorry, there's a third category, potato efficiency. So, all right, there you go. Pern's potato efficient. I won't speak for DX. DX, if you want to chime in, feel free to, on what you think your level of efficiency is.
I mean, being able to create something in invention that you can sort of load bones onto, much like the attuned ectoplasmator, and he puts acto, but it's actually an ectoplasmator.
The imagine the actoplasmator. Somebody get on that art right there. Actoplasmator.
Dropped from Yakamaru. But I love it. But yeah, I mean, to have, to be able to load bones into something like that that's useful in PVM would probably be an interesting idea.
Right.
But it's something you would have to sort of combine invention with that type of thing, and but that's, I mean, that's the whole idea. You get to 99 so you can have all the prayers or all the curses that you can have, and unless they make it a 120 skill, then there is no real reason other than getting a 120 cape to go above the 99, and it's hard to make it. Yeah, it's hard to make any skill useful over 99 because that is what the hard cap is in the game. Yes, we've got virtual levels beyond that, but the hard cap in game.
The fact that you can't even quick chat your virtual level to me means virtual levels are so far from being accepted that it just doesn't matter to most people.
Yeah, 99 is where it is, so that gives you your highest output of whatever the skill is, and it doesn't matter whether it be Slayer, whether it be Prayer, whether it be Mining. 99 is the cap. Doesn't matter if you're 99 mining or 150 mining. You're getting the same output and the same uses out of the skill.
Gnaw on bones to get a little HP. Snort ashes to make you high as fuck. All right, TX, it's time for bed, buddy. So I mean, you're either gonna, in my opinion, you're either gonna play the game the way you want to. You're gonna be you're gonna be frugal, or you're gonna be no XP waste mentality. Those are the ways you play the game. And honestly, how? I mean, I think you can switch off between them for sure. Like, you could be like, I'm going to be XP efficient today, or I'm going to be cost efficient for this specific task. Yeah, I'll give you that, I guess. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like,
okay.
You don't have to buy the most expensive stuff, but you also don't have to sit there and play harps.
Yeah, you should be able to play the game the way you want to play the game, and as before when we were talking about addiction and compulsion, if you start to feel like you need to do something a certain way in RuneScape, the place you came to have fun, you need to reevaluate your priorities. Like, I've been sitting here doing divination for the past 10.5 months, and I have been doing it because I chose to do that. I want to do it. I want that cape. I don't need that cape. I want that cape. When I went and did option 1 for 3.5 months because I wanted the money, and I stopped wanting the cape as much as I wanted that money. It's all about what I want, and that's how you should play the game. How you want to play the game. If you want to
And
be
you set
XP
yourself
efficient,
a goal to go for.
yeah. And if that's what you want, that's what you want. But you should be playing the game for enjoyment. That's what we're all here for. Anyway. So we're going to move along here, and we're going to do a little callback here. This post is coming from Reddit by Sea of Blue, who says, scammers seem to put in so little effort now. So, callback to earlier, talked about that new scam, get ready. As I'm getting the new Slayer task, an individual hands me a Carrallanger Teleport tab, and says they can't use it because they haven't done Desert Treasure. Why would a level 137 account not have done Desert Treasure? I tell them that I tried to use it, and it says, you don't know how to use this. The scammer replied and says, why would you lie to me? He replies and says, why would you think you could trick me? So I look everything and banked it, teleported, and only one level 138 was standing in the wilderness waiting for me. So little effort. Didn't even try to make me feel special. So this is how lazy scammers have gotten for this person. So again, someone trying out the most recent scam on this individual. And he feels like he got ripped off, personally, because there was only one person waiting for him in the wilderness. And he was expecting, to be fully jumped, as you would be to expect it, So, this poor guy, he didn't get the reaction that he was hoping for. I just like, my favorite part of that is the scammer saying, why would you lie to me? Like, coming from the person who's literally trying to kill you. Like,
Yeah.
come on. All right, next up. Going to the RuneScape official forums again. Nightclubbing. This post is called... we're in the rants forum, by the way, so just get ready. Full-on shit posts for the rest of the show. We're closing in. We're closing in here. So, rant about RuneScape history. 2006 to 2007 was the best time in RuneScape history, because Nightclubbing said so. 2012 is when I realized it was all going down the drain. Okay, what? Okay, your brain? I don't know what's going down the drain. Just found out about Old School not too long ago. Love it! Reading comments from quote-unquote EOC players sounds like a huge corporate mess. Saw a video of someone paying $14,000 in real life to max his account. That's crazy. What happened to time, skill, and planning? Oh yeah, it lives in Old School RuneScape now. The only thing not 07 about is the GE, but it's a trip to think about life back without it. Typing selling law runes 500 GP each, over and over at Varric West in World 2, having to buy a Dragon 2-hander from a stranger in Yanil because it's the first person you've met with one. He rips you off. Then Jag put in very restrictive trade limits. Wasn't that hell? Okay, I've ranted enough. Anyone else want to have a go? My my brain hurts. This is so... What? I'm so confused. So are we just talking about... Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, he's picked on one video where he wanted to do it in 3 days, and he didn't actually do it in 3 days. It took him longer than the 3 days to do it in spending $14,000. I mean, no one does that. That was just a...
He's stating that as if it's the norm. He's like, oh, you want an X account? You got to spend like 14 grand. RuneScape is completely pay to win. You can't move a square.
I also want to point out the Grand Exchange was launched on the 26th of November 2007. So.
Yeah, which was in his little.
Yeah, it was what he was talking about. Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
And I mean, talking about where he said about 07 being the game where you have to put in the effort and all that type of stuff. I'm sorry, with what's coming into that game now, it is becoming more easy escape than we are.
And one thing that I will say about that, and I've said it last time as well, is it's just logical progression, right?
Of course,
and the fact that yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issue with it, but they keep saying that we've got the easiest game over there, but it's getting made easier and easier over there. But that's all okay because that's the one they play,
and they can't even complain and say that I didn't vote for it because 75% of people have to vote for it to pass. Clearly, the majority want. I honestly don't think that like 51% is a majority. I am totally okay to say if 75% of people want something, that is enough of a majority that I would say that yes, okay, fine, the community. I'm comfortable saying the community when 75% of the people want an update.
And I think all polls should go that way, and I think our polls over this side should go that way as well.
I agree completely. Yeah, 75%. If you're going to do a major game change, I think is a much better threshold.
Did you see the GE update poll?
No, do tell if you'd like.
In game, there's an in-game poll right now that says if you want
Oh, is that the Grand
the
Exchange?
Varrock G, the Grand Exchange to go to one booth in the middle or keep the 4 around the edges.
What did you vote for?
And it's I voted for change because I don't really care because I'm in Prif.
Right.
So I like to mess with other people. And that's pretty much the stance my clan had about it, too. They're like, we don't care. It's like, fuck things up.
When they say one booth, though, they're going to go like it used to be, where they had the one circle around the middle and the 4 people there, like it used to be.
Yes.
Yes.
It's... I don't care. You do what you like.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's because I don't really use it that often. It looks pretty now with a big fountain in the area, but it's such a huge area it's a waste of space.
What do you do with
if they are going to make it like one booth in the middle, make it smaller and open up and there's more real estate there that could be used for other things in game.
I mean, my one question is, so again, the one single booth won 49% to 31% to 19% who just don't care. What do you do with all the votes that don't care? Like, those margins are so small because 20% of people don't care. So do you count those don't care votes as yeses or no's?
Yeah. So you either just leave it as it is, or if you want that real estate to put something else into game that's going to get people out of Prif and down there training different things, then do it.
Since we're removing the Lumbridge Crater, why don't we just copy, cut the Lumbridge Crater?
I'm not happy about that.
Paste the Lumbridge Crater where the Grand Exchange was, and then we'll just move the Grand Exchange. Then we can
make the Grand Exchange. Make the Grand Exchange the new party area.
Yeah.
Let's fill it up with sand.
You can tell
have Claudia pop out of the middle, and
you can tell we're getting towards the end of the show, and
where we start talking shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Just nothing we're saying is making sense anymore.
The only world it would affect is World 2.
That's true, and that's another reason why I think centralizing the booths as the Grand Exchange is not anything but a good thing. Is you're forcing people to play in a close area opposed to spreading them apart. Where spreading them apart isn't really a necessity on, like you said, any world but World 2, really. So I'm fine with it.
I think with the NXT client, they can sort of handle more people sort of grouped together now than the old Java
One more reason
did.
to get on NXT.
And I think, and I think that was one reason I think that they did sort of separate it to try and break it up a bit and fix up frame rates for people. So no, on that, I'm going to change my vote to make it centralized now because it'll force. No, I can change.
You can. It's closed. The ball's over.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I can't change.
Yeah, no, it's it won. It's going to be centralized. Oh, I mean, if they don't, I don't know what they're doing with the I don't mind votes.
But what? How many people voted for change it?
Change was 49%.
So that is not even a majority.
No, it's because the I don't minds were 20%.
Yeah, that's right. But that means 51% of people did not vote for that change.
Yeah, well, 19% of people are just don't care. So what do you do with those? That's not helpful information.
A few days ago, it was like 70% voted one single booth.
Oh, wow. So a lot of people changed their votes then, perhaps? Or more people ended up voting?
Possibly, or It was the first day it came out. There was a lot of votes for one single booth.
All right, which YouTuber made a video about it then? Someone must have made a video about it. That's another thing, is these polls are easily...
Friends jumped on there and swayed votes again.
Yeah, those polls are... Those polls are pretty, swayable if you have a large enough audience, because not everyone votes in the polls, despite it being in game and pretty accessible.
There was that poll a while ago that was actually they needed the 75%. It was sitting at like I think it was 70 or 71%, and a friend jumps on there and says, "Well, no, you should be voting this way." All of a sudden, bang! It has that 5% swing. It hits 76%. And that was straight after his video was done. So all his viewers obviously jumped on there and voted.
Yeah, I guess so.
Imagine if Will Miss It. I think Will Miss It is more popular than a friend these days.
Does Will Miss It play 3 or old school? I honestly
3.
don't know. Okay. So,
and if you watch his recent videos, he's how in the beginning of the BTS videos and everything, they got that RuneScape logo. He's been using that, and he's like, I don't know if they just cleared him, said, hey, you can do whatever you want, we like this, but he's been like talking like, he's been pretending to be like J-mods and stuff.
Jagex is
which is
pretty
against the
liberal.
rules.
Yeah, staff impersonation is totally not cool. But Jagex is pretty liberal with their art assets. I mean, look at me. Look at what we.
Yeah,
like,
they know it's fake.
Yeah, we have tons. I mean, we're a fan site. We're not fake. Like
the last one that he uploaded, it was like a Valentine's Day one, and it was pretty, like, it was almost believable. If you didn't play RuneScape and you watched that video, you would believe it, probably.
I own 2 RuneScape domains. I own RuneScape.today and RuneScape.life, and they haven't come after me yet, which I honestly figured they would have a problem with. But I assume because I clearly state on the website that it's not affiliated. Like, it's not cool if you go around pretending to be a JMod, but as long as you clearly state that you are, a fan, I think it's okay to use their assets and whatnot. But yeah, don't act like you're a freaking JMod. That's just weird. But I haven't seen those videos. I can only comment on the hearsay that I'm hearing right now. But as far as my opinion goes, what?
Didn't he have JMod's voice acting on that? He made that little that movie type thing. He had. Didn't he have some JMod's voice acting on that for him?
Yes, I believe I think they did. That was a pretty. I mean, Jagex liked that movie so much that they streamed it on the official channel. So
yes,
I'm pretty sure they had some. I think there were some involvement from staff in there. Anyway, let's continue on here. A few more topics to go here. 3 to be specific. Terminated. Here's your obligatory got hacked post. It's just entitled Got Hacked and Cleaned. And he says, is there any way to get the GP back that was stolen from my account, or at least catch the person that cleaned my account? I just logged in today for the first time in about a week, and I realized someone had sold everything on my account. Jagex, please help. Probably going to quit, considering I lost around 150 million worth of items in GP.
I'll give you a set of armadillo gear.
You'll
go
get
down
that.
Yeah, go down Camper, Dark Beast, and that for a week, and you'll have that 150 mil back anyway.
Yeah, you'll be back on your feet in no time. 150 mil is I hate to say it, but in today's day and market, it's really not a lot of money. Like, even if you're not good at like combat or anything, you could probably make 150 mil in like a month if you're bad. You can make that in a week if you're good. Less so if you're an elite PVMer. But let's not talk about money here. Though obviously the point to bringing up stories like this is to secure your account. Don't get yourself in a situation where this happens to you. There are ways to prevent this, of course. And again, RuneScape Weekly Security Series is probably one of the best ways to get yourself caught up. The official RuneScape knowledge base help system has been revamped. It's also great. They have great information there as well. As far as we go over how to read URLs properly, how to use two-factor properly, how to secure your antivirus and firewall and all that properly. So if you're interested in keeping yourself secure, Magebit.tv, find the security playlist. I actually have part 4 recorded. I just haven't had time to animate it due to life constraints. I have to work too, so it's just I don't have the time to do the animations. So I may actually just release it as an audio if people are interested in that. But I really like the polish, like I can actually do real video editing. But the little bit of effort that I put in to try and graphically visualize what I'm talking about, I really like being able to do that. So I've been holding off on releasing the 4th part of the series for anyone who's wondering why. But if you want the audio, I'll give it to you. But anyway, for real. So if you're, don't let yourself get in a situation like this. Cover your bases. Two-factor on the email account that you use to play RuneScape. Two-factor on RuneScape. If you don't have a phone or a phone that's capable of two-factor, use Authy. I have a video on Authy. It's even, Authy has authorized the video, for lack of a better term. They've tweeted out the video on their own Twitter saying here's how to use Authy. So it's obviously easy to use, and you could check out that video if you're interested. But don't get yourself hacked. That's such a raise your hand proverbially if you've been hacked. Like I don't know if I know anyone who has not at one point in their RuneScape career have been hacked or scammed. I guess lost GP to a nefarious activity. I mean, there's always going to be sharks out there, and you need to be prepared. So keep yourself educated.
I've never lost money.
Never lost money. Never been scammed.
Never lost my money from my account. There was once in my early days where someone asked me down when Dragon was actually worth.
Mm-hmm. We lost money. You there. Dragon was worth money.
I went down, and he's going.
Sorry, you broke up there.
That's okay. In my early days, when Dragon was worth money, I was in my full Dragon. Got invited down to one of the portals to make a YouTube video for a guy. He wanted to see someone in full Dragon, offered me $1 million. I went down there, said, "You give me $1 million." He goes, "No, I'll give it to you. We'll go and do the video. I'll give it to you when you come out. Go into this portal here." I said, "Yep, see you later."
I mean, that's the thing is like, I know some good people who haven't been scammed necessarily, like straight up scam, but have been scammed trying to anti-scam. Like, don't anti. It's a bad idea. Anyway.
Well, there's that beautiful video of, I can't remember his name now, but he lost the purple party hat trying to anti-scam.
Yeah.
He's a popular YouTube video.
I don't remember who did that video, but that was...
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but that was brilliant.
Oh,
and he's just gone, "Oh, shit. Oh, I just got... Okay.
Yeah,
I think I'm not going to make it back. Okay. Yep, there goes a purple party hat." And he was just so blasé about it. I mean...
Yeah, the Let's Record a Video scam. Yeah. Cost third age mage top and bottom. That day I became a cynic, says Zenel. Yeah. When did I became a cynic? Probably when one of my friends in real life, I played their account at their house, and they shoulder surfed me and got my password from me and then cleaned me out. Because this was back before bank pins, before anything really. They just grabbed, and of course my password was like 5 characters long. Also happened to be the name of a prominent heroine in a very popular video game series at the time. So yeah, it was pretty easy to guess and cleaned me out. And that's why I now say that anyone, if I'm going to lend you something or anything, you have to be within stabbing range of me. Like, I have to be able to find you and end your life if you were to wrong me now, because this person who's my friend, but he moved away, and shortly after that, so like he got away with it, and I don't know if in his mind he was like, "I'm moving, I don't care about this friendship anymore. Lol, let me clean my friend out," or what? But like that fucking changed me for life. Like when greed overcame this individual, and then it's really that's like imagine having the last memory of like a really close friend, they rob you and then move. Like, that's horrible. So that was probably, I don't think I've ever told that story in that specific detail before either. So yeah, that's a thing that did happen to me probably in like 2004, 2003.
I've told me before, but I don't know if it's been on the show before.
What?
You have told me before, but I don't think it's been on the show
I've told the story on the show before, but I've never told it in that amount of detail as to like, I've said that a friend, but I didn't mention, to that specific detail. And because it's, it's sad, but it's people are evil. End of story. You have to, trust you can have friends, but be careful trusting them for sure. There are very few people, like if I have like an active loan with you right now, then you have earned a level of trust that you are probably in the top 0.1% of people in my eyes. Anyway,
I just live by the old maxim: a friend in need is a pain in the ass, so don't have friends.
Right. You tell me, Pern, if I came knocking on your virtual door and I was like, "Oh, dude, I just got hacked. I got nothing. I got to reboot. Can I borrow some weapons or something?" You'd be like, "Magebit, get out of here, you scrub."
No, I just give you. I mean, I'm happy to give stuff to people. If you give it back to me, you give it back. I mean, I'm not going to give you anything that I'm not going to.
That's another great rule, right? Losing. That is another great rule of thumb.
I've given away. We used to have someone in the clan who claimed to have been hacked, and I gave him a full set of Armadillo when it was back then. It was worth probably 10 or 12 mil for the full set. He said, "I'll give it back to you at the start of the month." I said, "Yep." And yeah, about 2 weeks later, he quit the clan, changed his name, deleted me as a friend. Oh, well, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That was it. And I mean, it's well, you've just shown the type of person you are. You haven't scammed me, because it's like I've given you that knowing that there's always a risk that I'm not going to get it back. So
yeah, exactly. That's the main thing. It's just like the wilderness. You don't go in the wilderness with anything you're not expecting to lose. Don't lend anything you're not expecting to lose. Yep. Anyway. We have 2 more posts here. This one is by Smurfzilla, who says 5, 10, 15-year capes. Why give year achievement cape stats at all? If we cannot use them, every other achievement cape offers something. Even city capes with bonuses to a skill can at least be worn at times. It's not too much to ask at least to give them a usable stat like a quest cape, or make them directly added to the wardrobe. It's insulting Jagex would take advantage of their most dedicated. by pushing out more keepsake fodder, don't manipulate us to spend money and call it your show of loyalty. After years we showed our loyalty, it's time you show yours. Oh, God. So,
and Ashtec has the first answer. I just want to read that.
Yeah.
It says, oh, yeah, people with 15-year capes at the moment probably show their loyalty by having been away from the game for 10-plus years and actually playing it for less than 5. If you were actually loyal, you'd be wearing Max or Comp and this rant wouldn't exist.
that's my first thought is, like, the 15-year cape was, for me, just a keepsake. Like, I'm going to wear it over my Max cape as a prestigious thing. Yes, over 1 million people can claim the Max cape, but as Ashtep says, I guarantee you 90% of those people haven't played the game in 10 years, right? Like, and they're not going to claim it. They probably don't even remember their passwords.
And this is also coming from the person that's been a member since December 2014.
Yeah.
And also, I think you should not have it for another year because you did take that year off when you got hacked. I think that should be taken from your account, and wouldn't that be bad if they took it by actual time
You
played?
should have a playtime cape.
Right?
Yeah.
Playtime capes, yeah.
I like that.
Forget these milestones of just yearly capes. I want an
I'd be closer to the bloody cape than you guys would be combined.
Can you imagine? How many hours do you have in game, DX? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna have a pissing contest?
Yeah,
let's go. Let's go.
Let's have a look. See.
Let's have a pissing contest. Hang on, let me log in. Yeah, everyone log in. Find your.
Where do you
pissing
find that?
contest?
Where do you find it?
Adventurers log, I believe.
Rune metrics. So I have right now time played in game. I think there should be, and let's just preface this. I think there should be like a 25-day cape, a 50-day cape, a 100-day cape, then maybe like a 200 or a 250, a 500, a 750, and a 1,000-day cape. Like I think, imagine them promoting 1,000-day play. Like I think people would come at them for promoting unhealthy gameplay. Go ahead, DX.
Yeah, I got my one. It says time played 650 days, 4 hours.
Holy shit, I'm 560 days, 10 hours. How do you have like almost 100 more days than me? What is wrong with you? How do you do that? That is crazy. And you started playing after me, didn't you? What year did you start playing in?
I started playing in 2006.
So I have like 5 years more playtime than you, yet you have almost 100 days more playtime than me.
Well, just remember, Mage, you took a couple of years off, didn't you?
I did take a couple of years off. I took a year off when I got hacked, and I took a year off when I was in college and working at the same time. Yeah. So I have a couple of years of non-play. Yeah,
wow, Sarah's actually ahead of me on that.
What does Sarah have?
By 2 hours.
2 hours.
650 days. 650
All right.
days and 6
Don't
hours.
log out, DX. Don't log out. Wow. Kokopoo has 780. Very impressive. Yeah, I always love to do this.
I started in 2011. I've got 426 days, 18 hours.
Damn.
Crazy.
What's your total XP, DX?
Yeah, right.
Let's see. Total XP. 746 million.
So you have.
I'm almost double you there. I'm 1.3 billion.
I'm 1.16 billion.
Hey guys, the BTS is live.
Woo, BTS. Good stalling. I'm really. That was good. All right, let's grab the BTS. Is it on? Is it on YouTube or on the main page?
It's on YouTube. I'll send you the link in.
Send me a link. 420 Zenel logo right now. Zenel needs to log out right now. He has 420 days.
He's got it. Zenel's already posted the BTS.
All right, let me. Where is it? Where is it?
It's on the live channel.
Live in Discord.
Thank you. Let me pop that open. We'll get that up on screen shortly. Just bear with me here, and we'll quickly see. This is the month ahead, so we're gonna do March, the month ahead, which is perfect. I'm so glad that I was afraid that the show was gonna end right before the BTS came out, so I am super glad that this worked out. Let me pop. And what is this? Get out of my life. I just had like a miniature stroke there, and I used the snipping tool instead of screen capture. Oh goodness. Oh, hang on. This needs to just not exist at all. Oh, the fails. The utter fail. All right, I should be okay now. And snippy snip. Okay. Let us delve into the BTS. Here we go. Why do I have no audio? Oh, I know why I have no audio. There will be audio, I promise. There we go.
After a pretty darn enjoyable games jam over the Double XP weekend, we focused March's updates on the stuff that was dreamed up over that period. A common thread is that they're all updates to things you play and enjoy every day. Let's start with a big rework to luck in the game. No longer will the Ring of Wealth or Luck Potions be your only way to modify how lucky you are in the game. We're adding 3 new rings that can affect bosses, clue scrolls and some skilling activities, with a top tier ring involving level 107 invention and a new gem, alchemical onyx, to create. More bosses have been added to the list of things that luck can affect. So you've got raids and battles against foes like Telos. They could be more lucrative than ever before. You'll also get increased chances to get those really desirable items when solving clue scrolls, and increased chances to get a whole bunch of other things across the game, including Sarah necklace symbols, Black Ibis and more. The Ark is set for some improvements too, with extra features for Leia Crablets and the Ark Journal, alongside the all-important addition of new rewards like the High Armour of Hanto and its related weapons. Ooh. We're also making some changes to your main game screen, splitting out buffs and debuffs so they can be more easily managed, and you can see exactly what's affecting your play as you take on the challenges of the world. We've taken your comments on board and added more buff and debuff icons like Dreadnip timers, stun immunity and Excalibur cooldowns, and added more buff icons to appear on NPC health bars for even clearer feedback. And there's improvements to the pet interfaces too, adding some of your favourite inventory-based pets so you no longer need to go back to your bank to access them. And we're also making 5 more skilling outfits available outside of Treasure Hunter, a very useful range of gear that adds XP gains to a range of different skills. So if you've got quite a few pieces you haven't quite managed to find yet, you'll be able to by playing a range of different in-game activities. So look out for divination, cooking, summoning and prayer outfit opportunities soon. And the final skilling outfit, which will be available in-game, is a special one, the Elite Fishing outfit. This is similar to the Gemstone Golem and Rune Ethereal outfits already in the game. You'll need to find its fragments using the fishing skill, and then piece them all together with an invention blueprint, eventually leading to the Elite Fury Shark outfit, the ultimate in fishing attire. And for those of you still waiting for the perfect name for your character, you might well get lucky this month as we release another batch of old forgotten player names back into the mix. And in other news, the Twin Furies are sending their agents back to Gielinor to bring Zamorakian defectors to justice. Check out the event shop and in-game skilling opportunities for Zamorakian emblems, tradable for some fierce cosmetic outfits. And finally, that nasty old crater to the west of Lumbridge has finally been reclaimed by the forces of nature, with lush plant life erasing the battle scars of the past. And yes, the duck pond is back, woohoo! So have fun with that lot. The Game Jam really produced some great ideas. Thanks so much for getting involved. We really couldn't have done it without you. What this means is the rest of the development team can focus on the big updates coming up in the next few months. Updates like Shattered Worlds, Menaphos, and the new achievement system.
You dare say bank bidders.
They're really looking great. I can't wait to see them in game. Trust us, they're going to be belters.
Apologize for the minor technical hiccups there, but nonetheless, yeah, bank bidder is not mentioned at all. Thank you.
And High Hanto armor's coming in.
I think Mod Osborne realised that was just a bloody thought bubble, and he thought, no, maybe if I don't mention it, people won't remember that I said that while I was drunk at RuneFest.
I'm really glad to see that Bank Bidders is not on the menu for March. I'm a Super Fury Shark outfit sounds pretty cool. All right, anyone who spent like $8 million on the High Hanto armor, how are you feeling right now? Are you okay? Do you need medical assistance? Are you having a stress-induced stroke? Like, I know people who spent like literally hundreds of millions to unlock the High Hanto armor, and the fact that it's going to be unlockable in game almost sounds like riot worthy for. I know, and then the reason why it won't be is because only a few whales actually did it. But holy crap, if you did that, oh, my condolences to you. Maybe you should work on your impulsivity, as we were talking about previously in the show. But oh yes, I'm really excited. Really excited.
The Luck rework's coming up in March.
Luck rework looks great. I'm pumped for that.
Himbo was talking about that. He said he had it ready to go already.
Yeah.
Just doing some more testing on it. So that doesn't surprise me. But 5 skilling outfits as well. I wonder if they're the actual just normal skilling outfits.
They are.
Or are they,
I imagine they would.
They are?
They're the ones from Treasure Hunter.
The Game Jam.
They are? Okay.
Yeah. They're the ones that used to be on Treasure Hunter. And they're now going to be in-game, or 5 of them are going to be in-game now. So that's a great improvement.
Mod Shawnee's buff icons?
The buff icons are great,
They
I'm
look
sure.
good.
I know a lot.
I think Mod Shawnee was trying to put them in two different sections, like positive buffs and negative buffs into two different sections in the NXT engine. So
I really like the fact that like negative buffs now show up, and you can see how many are like stacked. What's up? I just saw that.
Zenel has just put in the Discord. He's got if DX was a JMod, choose options: scatter infernal ashes, snort infernal ashes, use infernal ashes, drop infernal ashes, and examine them.
Thank you, Zenel. There we go.
That was good.
There you go. So we've improved the prayer skill. You can now get high as fuck off of those demon kills. I'm seeing demons, man. I'm seeing demons. They're crawling out of the walls. Nice.
And then we look up to the sky, and the whole sky is now psychedelic and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you could borrow from the mushrooms and the hallucinogenic perk. Yeah. I like to think that if you're snorting in like infernal ashes, though, it's having like a meth effect on you. Like you're tweaking out, you're freaking, you're tripping, you're on a different planet at that point. Good work, Zenel. I like that.
Oh dear.
All right. I have to say, what does the High Hanto armor do? Does it do anything, like, or is it purely a cosmetic item being added to the arc?
Cosmetic.
Okay, so that's just a cosmetic armor. So people spent so much money on that, and it's just a cosmetic. It looks beautiful.
Wasn't that the armor that was the first armor to come on Treasure Hunter that was augmentable?
That very well might be true. Yeah, I think I remember them saying or freaking out about that.
I thought that was the fuss, was that it was augmentable armor.
From Treasure Hunter. God, it is beautiful. Oh, I'm looking at it. Yeah,
it
I
looks
really
good,
like it. Yeah. The fact that it's augmentable might have been the big contention. You're right. I couldn't remember that factor. Good memory. Yeah. So
I do remember everyone jumping up and down about it, and I thought it was just because of the look. Because you had to, we all thought, oh look, there's the map, complete that, and then you actually had to do the map 8 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what turned me off.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
Tier 80.
Yeah,
Tier 80 augmentable.
That pissed off the whole community. I think that's what got a lot of controversy, and I think that's what Mod Osborne. I think it was Osborne who addressed the fact that they thought that Treasure Hunter went a bit overboard with that one.
Is this a...
Yeah, Osborne released an apology video.
Good. That's, yeah. Oh,
I don't know if it
I'm
was Osborne
sorry.
or it was somebody else.
Sorry.
I can remember someone...
Can you show the armor? Yeah, I can show the armor. Let me just pop over to my main monitor here. I'm on the wiki page right now. I'll see if I can get this to switch over here. It's pretty nice. It is really detailed. If you look at that, like it looks like almost like a mixture between primal dungeoneering armor, then you have some Tetsu kind of influence going on there. I could see, as well as, I'll be honest, the helm almost looks like somebody decapitated Krill Sutzeroth and freaking dried his skull out and added some like Hellweir freaking antlers to it. Like this armor is pretty freaking cool.
It's
the invention
certainly one I'll be going for.
Yeah, I will definitely be getting that. I mean, I'm in the Arc right now. I have probably at least like 500,000 chimes worth of things that I've collected, and I have to actually buy a bunch of supplies. But now I might hold off on that and just make a bunch of soups so I can be ready to buy this. So I assume this is going to unlock via chimes.
I'm almost 10k wobbegongs down there.
Wow. Yeah, I have like 25,000 ancestral energy right now, a few thousand mushrooms. Like I am.
Did you say ancestral?
Yes,
it sounded like you said ancestral.
Ancestral energy. That is something. That is a whole different boat.
Wow, DX bedtime.
Yeah, go to your room. Go to your room. I don't want.
I am in my room.
Damn it. Go to your someone else's room. Don't
go to your brother's room after that comment.
Also, Mod Shawnee's pointed out the fact that Mod Osborne tried to do the honey thighs for character name claim.
Yes, yeah, that was funny.
Now
Mod Osborne, you are a sick freak.
Yeah, that was. I love him. He's a good character. I have to say, as far as like a figurehead for Jagex, he's good. He's really lovable as far as that goes. Like, I honestly don't know. I don't remember what he did prior to what he does now. But like, is he like creative director now or something? I honestly don't know what he does, except he just seems to be really good at like diffusing player hate. It's anytime any like big
hate Osborne.
I know, anytime any big disaster comes out, it's just Osborne. It's always Osborne there to be like, I'm sorry. You don't like Osborne?
No.
What about him? What about him do you not like? Out of curiosity.
He just seems really, really fake to me. Like, you look at him, and it's just like, it's like one of those guys that are trying to get your attention on purpose.
Okay.
He's just like, hey, look at me. Like,
apparently you're not alone. Elite says the same thing. He says, honestly, I can't stand him, so fake.
Cannot stand him. Fake smile, fake
I
everything. It's like he gets so fake excited about these updates, and it makes me not even like the updates.
How do you know it's not real excitement? I mean, I guess maybe I just can't see through it, but maybe I'm blinded by my own fanboyism, if you will. Because I don't know, my immediate reaction, I think there's only like 1 or 2 JMods that I've ever like actually disliked. But you know, it's very well possible that he's, you know, an actor, and he could be a really just damn good actor. And
yeah, he it looks like he's too pretty to play RuneScape. It's like, you know, but it's
excuse me, sir, you are far too aesthetic for this game.
It's not believable. It's not believable. Like Mod Mark, I could believe that all day. Like Shawnee, I could believe that. But there are hot guys that play, you know. But it's just not believable.
That is a good picture. He's British. We're famously emotionless. Yeah, so maybe that's the weird thing is he's got a lot of emotion for a Brit. He's so bubbly.
I think he's drunk most of the time.
But so is Shawnee.
I thought everyone in
Mark. I thought they look like they're actually having fun.
I mean,
to me, he sounds like he really enjoys what he does. So.
I have worked for a UK company before, and I assume they all work the same. And they had a keg in the break room, is all I'm saying. So I assume all UK companies just support alcoholism in the workplace. So it's very well possible that, you know, maybe they could just be. Imagine if they were just tanked all the time. It would explain a lot of the updates. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, we got 1 post left for the day. Which unfortunately does not come close to competing with the behind the scenes, but we'll cover it and we'll call it a day. Unless anyone has anything else about the behind the scenes that they want to address now is your chance.
It looks like a very, very good month.
I'm excited. It does. It looks very positive for the updates coming in.
I did say, I think before we went on air, that it seemed like it was going to be like a lowish to mid-range month. No real high-ish stuff, just small, medium updates. That's what it looks like we're going to have this month.
Yeah. And I'm okay with small and medium updates because they still impact the game significantly.
And there's a lot of them, too.
Yeah. It's almost like
5 skilling outfits off Treasure Hunter. I think this is going to start affecting Vic the Trader as well.
It will,
bring him back because what people are trading.
What's he selling?
But
I like to go into roleplay mode and think Vic the Trader is like a real person. He comes back to town. The laws have changed. Everyone's got these outfits, and he's like, oh shit!
I invested in the wrong things.
Yeah, he's like, oh well, I'm out of that would be an amazing machinima if anyone can make that. Vic walking into town, seeing everyone in these free skilling outfits, and he's like, oh shit. I gotta get a job.
Mate, if they had the RuneScape Diary page back, if they ever put it back, I'd be able to work on that because they used to have him in there.
Yeah. That if they maybe
if they ever bring it back, I'd work on it.
I'll see. Maybe we can get some animations of him. I'll talk to some people. Let's see here. So again,
we still got to review the Penguin Quest too.
Yeah. We do still have to review the Penguin Quest. That's right. Oh, thank you. I knew I would forget. So thank you for reminding me. Yeah, 1.2 thousand views.
You're welcome. $50. You're welcome. $50. Thank you.
You haven't even finished. I agree, Rune Group. This has gone quite well for the Facebook side of things. I am pretty pumped. Let's see here. So I'll do this 1 post and then we'll cover the quest. So again, final warning: spoilers coming up in about 15, maybe less. So
siren sound effects yet?
Let me open up my soundboard here. I'll see if I have anything. I'll just ding. I don't know. Well, I'll find something for the. Because anyway, so reporting a player equals useless, asks Lambic, and they say, I have a feeling the report button has become useless. This is another reoccurring thread we tend to hear. I have reported people who broke the rules, using offensive language, disruptive behaviors, scamming techniques, the use of macro and botting. It has come to my attention that even though the players get reported, no action is ever taken. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen any of my reports successfully been taken action upon. Here, I am asking for an honest answer. Are reports really being treated as they should be? Does Jagex, the staff, see the reports and be like, whatever. I honestly don't know why I'm still reporting rule breakers if nothing is to be done about it. So, this is one thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, but like, it can take months to ban certain people that are hybrid between botting and real play. Like, it can be difficult to build a case when someone is not 100% a bot, and it can take months of doing so before they can ban the account with what they call 100% certainty. I, as you know, don't agree with the term 100% certainty, and a friend released a video fairly recently proving the fact that, and we've seen it many, many times, of this 100% certainty isn't true. We've seen bans get quashed by, people that was, detections and whatnot. We see this happening, and they still claim 100%, which I don't appreciate, and I think they should really just 99.9%, 99.8%. Don't say 100%. It's a computer. It's not perfect. It bothers me. Anyway, Safety Power chimes in and says, all reports are checked by Jagex staff. What happens after this is a private matter between the account holder and Jagex. You won't get to find out if any action is taken. And this is my point, or my question. Do you think that if you report somebody in-game and an action is taken against them, that your character should benefit in some way, whether it's just a simple pop-up in-game that's when you next log in that says, thank you, we banned someone because of thanks to information that you gave us, or we banned someone this, and now you get, X amount of bonus XP because you helped, catch a long-standing bot or something. Is that something that needs to be in the game? Do we really need to pat people on the shoulders every time they report somebody? Or is this person just whining? I mean, yeah, why do you say definitely not? What's your reasoning behind that?
Because you're going to see, if they start doing that, you're going to see a lot more fake reports. The only reason you would do, if you want to do something like that, you also take XP off them for fake reports.
Yeah, that's a huge problem, right? Is the second you attach a reward to something, people will immediately try to game the system. Immediately. I mean, that's just the name of the game. People are going to try to, if you're offering a reward, people are going to try.
And sorry, as an Aussie, it's like, minor infractions. You don't dob someone in for things like that. If it's something major, yeah, but you just, I don't know, it's just, I think it's a way we're sort of raised, you just don't dob a mate in.
So I think we can come to the pretty simple conclusion that adding a reward to reporting people is probably reckless at best. Should you get any feedback from the team to, incentivize you to be vigilant, just so you know that your reports aren't going completely ignored? Or is it really none of your damn business? You're just a citizen of RuneScape. You've reported a crime. Move along. Like,
it's none of your business. If I see someone run into someone, I tell the cops give them the license plate or something like that. I don't need to know anything more about it after that. It's not up to me.
Big Wiley D from Twitch says, just like people think they can get PMod by offering tons of reports, but then they start to get crazy and it defeats the purpose of reporting in the first place. Exactly. You bog the system down with menial reports. This person said, fuck. This person, it's like, no, you go fuck yourself. Like, this game isn't for, kids alone. It's for everyone. You have a profanity filter. I'm not going to go over that, but you know what I mean. Like, people report for the most menial things, thinking that petty reports are not going to get you, as Big Wiley's saying, it's not going to get you. It's not going to get you PMod status. It does remind me though of the worst scammers and hackers video that I did a long time ago on how to be a PMod. I love that book.
What about that book?
That's what I did. I did the worst scammers and hackers on the book. If you haven't seen that episode of Worst Scammers, it's probably like my favorite. It's so good. Go watch that. It's on the channel. It's in the Worst Scammers and Hackers playlist. Anyway, I think we've come to the end of the show where it's time to talk about the quest that we did this week. If you haven't done the quest yet, and you want to do the quest without any spoilers, aka blind, now is probably a good time to block your ears, because the rest of the show is going to be spoiler heavy. And I will, I should really put something up on screen that says spoilers here. But that is what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the quest. We're going to be pretty spoiler about it, and you are going to want to be aware of that. So, warning, spoilers for... What's the name of the Back to the Freezer? Back to the
freezer.
All right, so let me just do that, and then just... Okay, apparently that's how you delete text. Anyway, also, so if you want to watch, both myself and Pern both have our perspectives of the quest. We both did it separately, but we both did it and recorded it. It's up on your channel, right, Pern?
It is,
warning,
yeah.
Spoilers for...
Yeah, I did mine with Mage.
Yep, DX was a little bit ahead of me, which actually turned out to be my, beneficial for me. All right, let's see here. Oh, I have to press the OK button. That's why. There we go. Warning, spoils for... Come on, Back to the Freezer. Hopefully that will help people who don't want spoilers for Back to the Freezer. Let's just get that aligned. If it needs to be like in red or something, let me know. I will attempt to adjust it. Okay. Anyway, so let's talk about spoilers for Back to the Freezer. And of course, I would like to break this down, of course, as far as, I'm going to do a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Feel free to copy that or not. But I'll talk about it briefly, and then Pern will hand it off to you, then DX, and so on and so forth. If you've done the quest, feel free to chime in as well, as each of us give our breakdowns here. But again, if you want to watch my perspective, it's magebit.tv. So I went into this quest pretty much expecting nonsense because it's a penguin quest. It's meme-tastic for sure, I have to say. There was more references than honestly I was able to get, but heavily referenced Doctor Who, of course, which was fun. But it was very typical of what I would expect for a Penguin series quest. It was very irreverent, very all over the place. The puzzles were not overly demanding, which I appreciated, but they were there, and they had substance to them. So that was good. One thing I do appreciate is everything that you needed for the quest was pretty much obtainable via the quest. It did send you some places that were far away, but that was kind of the whole quest. You were jumping across the world, and I kind of appreciated that. Anyway, I'll stop talking and give Pern a chance to kind of chime in so I don't steal the entire spotlight. Pern, take the lead.
Again, as you said, it's a penguin. I've never been a fan of the penguin quests. I don't know. I just never really got into them. I absolutely love this one. It is by far my favorite penguin quest. Just all the throwbacks to the references to the different movies. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, Back to the Future, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Doctor Who. They were all sort of... Yeah, they were all big in
Flying High as well. That was a reference in Flying High.
There's a lot of different things in there, which was really, really... I just loved all those type of things. The whole fact... What I love most about it is where we got to the end of the quest. And can I bring up that part now, or do you want to wait until we get to that part?
Real quick, I just want to interject. Thank you very much to Kokopo there, who just donated $20. I really appreciate that. Going towards our XSplit license here. Having some sound issues on Nightbot, of course. Everything has to be broken today on our day of launch for Facebook. But I do want you to continue on, please. I just wanted to interject there and thank him very much.
That's okay. I love the end of it when we get right to the end, get back to Chuck. And the whole point of the quest was there was no point. And that, I think, wraps up the entire Penguin series. There's no real point to it. It is, they're in there as that little fun thing. If anyone's seen the movie Madagascar, the penguins of Madagascar, they really have nothing to do with the movie. They're just that comic relief type thing that just do stupid things. And that's like the penguins that, one of the best things I thought was when we first entered the secret bunker, and the first room there is all the different costumes that they use when you do your penguin hunting. You had the pumpkins, and you had the snowmen, and you had the cactuses, and the rocks. They had everything. And I thought that was brilliant. It was really good.
Did you guys notice the conveyor belt was actually running all the time as well?
Yes.
You see not normal penguins, and then all of a sudden you see them with their outfits on and stuff like that.
Yep.
That was very well done.
I thought there was a lot of good, just little jokes and such put into this quest. The other thing was the puzzle, that final puzzle. There was a great game I played. I mean, I spent hours upon hours playing Mastermind.
I didn't have that game as a kid, so when that interface came up, I was like, "What is this?
Yeah,
this looks like hell."
I started clicking on it. I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what this is." So I went straight through, and I thought, "Yep, just bang, bang, bang." And I would have thought white being like light was the correct one. So I saw the grey, which I would assume light off, white light on. So I got everything to white, and I'm going, why isn't this working?
Oh, right.
And I'm sitting there, and that was sort of, I thought wasn't intuitive. And then I realized there's a little eye up there, read that and redid it, and it was fine. The other thing was, the only other problem I had was the kilowatts. Everything was found in
the quest.
in the room. Yeah, in the actual bunker. So I thought, obviously, these have to be here. I thought at first kilowatts. I actually opened up kilowatts to see what they dropped, and no, they don't drop energy. So I'm not going there.
Yeah, right.
Because I thought, because I've never been to kilowatts before, so I thought. My first thought was head there, but then I thought, well, no, they don't drop that. So everything else is in here. It's got to be here somewhere. So I'm running around just searching everywhere. And I
did you talk to the kilowatt though?
Yeah, I talked to him. He said you'll have to
kill more of my friends. Yeah. Or you'll have to, they won't
but I'm figuring I had to find them in the area, and then I said to DX, and DX said, no, you head down. And I said, okay. And they head down there, and obviously, which was where I was going to go. I mean, that was basically where I was going to head next. So I thought, I'll just ask.
I could not believe how many people got confused. Like, they thought everything was going to be there. As soon as they mentioned kilowatts, like, the first thing that went to my mind is going to bloody Draenor and killing the bloody kilowatts there, because they did the same thing.
They're the only things that aren't in there.
Yeah,
but they're the only things that aren't in there, and
that was frustrating a little bit.
The energy was not a trip. Yeah, I mean, if there was other things outside that you had to sort of go and hunt down that way, then
well, I mean, they tossed you into the desert, right? Like, that was the only reason. That's how I justified it. Was okay, you threw me from literally the Antarctic to the desert. You know, okay, fine, I can go to the Kilowatt Plains, but it didn't come off to me as fluid.
It wasn't intuitive.
Yeah, it was not intuitive to do that. Honestly, if I didn't have DX there, who was a little bit ahead of me, I probably would have stumbled on that part. I honestly didn't even talk to the Kilowatt. I just pretty much garnered what I was supposed to do from chat in DX. And I actually talked to the Kilowatt after I killed all the Kilowatts, and he gave me more energy, so I ended up with more than I needed. So I kind of did it wrong, but that's just, I always seem to take the long way around things.
Well, that's it. And I mean, things like the lemon soul.
That was silly.
Rune. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I found the lemon, I'm going, okay, lemons. I'm sitting there, and I thought, hang on a sec. And I gathered up snow. I thought, the snow, we're going to put the snow with the lemon. Yeah. And then realized, hang on, that's actually a mysterious rune in there.
Yeah.
Bang used that got that done. So that was easy enough. So, I mean, some of it wasn't.
My first instinct was to use the lemon on there because I'm like, well, because it was like, this is dirty. I'm like, well, lemon is actually, like, you can use lemon to clean. So I was like, the citrus on the lemon will clean this. And I was like, holy shit, I was right. Like, I love it when Jagex just does little things like that like, if you think, where it's like, oh, citrus.
I hate it when they troll us for that soul rune. That's a troll.
And the other things, I mean, just things like the code 1234.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah,
because no one had remembered.
That's a real secure password.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was ready to screen cap that, and I was like, oh, lol.
Yeah, I loved where they brought in the Ping and Pong. I think they are the two musicians.
Yeah, Ping and Pong, yes.
That was really good, and it was they just in my mind, their voices are just Bill and Ted from Bill and Ted's Adventure. Yeah, things like the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. They call it the flax capacitor. Just all those.
Yeah.
That.
What did they call it? Was it the flax capacitor? Because that would have been the best right there.
The flax capacitor or something. It was just. It was really. I mean, I just found it really fun. It was nonsensical. It was irreverent, but it was those old fashioned, quests that we used to have in the game. I mean, we've had so many serious lore heavy quests the last year and a half. It's good to throw in these little comical ones like that. With the Gower quest last year, that one this year, and I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people it got a lot of hate, which I thought was unnecessary.
What about the Draenor sequence? That was fantastic.
Which one was that?
The bots.
Oh yes,
The bots in the mining guild.
Yeah,
that was
those are the things you had to find the one with the dragon pick, because all the rest with that's just that rune pick and things. I mean,
especially when they're all talking like bots too. That was fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. And there was a comment at the end of it. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, just little things like that was. I don't know. I just found it really, really good.
You're making me want to do a quest.
Yes, that's good though, right? That's awesome.
But that's the thing is, these are type of things. You don't rush them. You sit back and enjoy them for what they are. And the whole point at the end of it.
Go ahead.
Do you have to do quests to get to that quest?
Yes.
You have to do a couple of quests.
You have to
you have to be up to date on
lost me.
Yeah, you have to be up to date on the Penguin Quest series, which has some horrible game mechanics in it. I'll be honest.
I mean, to let people know, I mean, your requirements were. Oh, actually, I've just opened up. Oh, there they are. There. Quests expand. So you need Ernest the Chicken, Some Like It Cold, Hunt for Red Racktober, Cold War, and Sea Slug. 37 Slayer, 45 Rune Crafting, 50 Divination. Now, that was where, when they were talking about it, they said, it's going to be a 5th Age quest, and there's a Divination requirement. Well, I found it funny because you're going back to the 5th Age, then coming back to the 6th Age, and we had to take that divination energy from the 6th Age back to the 5th Age to power it all up. I thought they actually worked that all in very well. The one thing I was scared of when it said I needed my clockwork suit, I thought, oh no, because I destroyed that ages ago. But they just gave you a new one. And just got it back. I thought, this is going to kill me. But no, didn't need that. So
a lot of quest ducks.
Overall, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Love that puzzle, and that's a puzzle that that's a good puzzle that it doesn't get stuffed up by game tick or anything like that, or click radiuses.
This quest played to the RuneScape game mechanics perfectly. It didn't ask more than the game engine could handle, and that's what makes it.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
That's one of the main ingredients, at least.
What I thought. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, the story was great. It was funny. It was humorous. The puzzles were just difficult enough to tickle your brain and make you think a little bit. And and the reward was it was on par. It was decent. It was a nice little chunk of XP. And honestly, I can't remember what the other part of the reward was. It wasn't substantial, but it was enough for what the quest was.
Another penguin.
Exactly.
Penguin hide and seek.
The scaling XP. That's actually pretty great.
Yeah, the crocodile. You had to speak to the crocodile who escaped from the zoo, and Dundee was beside him. Crocodile Dundee. That's another old classic, and just little things like that. People are complaining that now the desert's got a big chunk of ice in it, and a TARDIS sitting there. And I love the way they the acronym TARDIS. And I've got to hear terraforming Arctic refrigeration dispersing ice spreader.
That's well done.
And there was someone complaining, we had this big metal box in there, and it's just a rip-off of the TARDIS. Well, if you actually look at it, it does have some metal on it, but it's mainly made of timber.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
It is, because people go, a big metal phone box
made
there.
With the construction kill at your crafting table.
Yeah. So as I said, really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed it for what it was. And
8 out of 10.
That's the whole thing. You've got to enjoy it for what it is.
Totally. Yeah, you have to suspend disbelief for this quest. You can't go into it looking at it like under a microscope. It's not meant for that. It's silly, it's irreverent, it's supposed to be lighthearted and fun. And if you're not into that sort of thing, this is probably not the quest for you if you're just looking for the rewards. This quest is about the journey, and if you enjoy a good story, a good lighthearted story with a little bit of puzzle action, and that's pretty much all it is I would say, you know, it has a difficulty of probably about maybe an 8-year-old's logic puzzle, really. Like, it's not horribly complicated. But,
No.
you know, being...
Which you nearly got stuck at, mate.
Exactly. Well, being someone who, as an adult, you don't sit around solving puzzles anymore, really, unless, you know, you're a puzzle
Don't
master.
you?
I mean, it depends on your...
I love Sudokus and crosswords.
So we'll see.
I
Yeah,
couldn't believe they listed this as a master.
Yeah, right. I mean, the difficulty and
That
length
was weird to me. I
don't
didn't
really
like
make
that.
sense. I'll give you
No,
that.
I agree with it. I agree having it as a master.
Why? Why?
Because you have to think. You have to think. Everything is there, but you just gotta think.
I
want
wanna
to
know
where they are.
Not
I
really.
want to know what
It-
their
it tells you-
requirements. Go ahead, David.
It kind of get that you get a list of all the things you need, and if you just go from one end of the cavern to the other, you find everything. I mean, maybe, but I don't think it's a master level. Maybe like intermediate or something.
Well, and see, one thing people trip up their thinking and say, you know, if it's a master quest, well, there was no crazy boss fight, so it can't be a master quest. And I don't think that's what you're saying necessarily, David. But a lot of
I don't care about boss fights.
Yeah,
I don't
well-
think boss fights should be a part of quests. Really.
Yeah, I kind of agree with
I don't care
that
about
as
that.
well. But a lot of people will think, well, how can you call it a master quest? Because, I mean, think about the fact that the only thing
what's
above
the
master is grandmaster, right? But when you are dealing with the mastery level of a quest, you're actually not dealing with difficulty. You're dealing with lore revealed and importance to the current storyline of that quest. So if we have a master quest, all that really means is we are reaching the penultimate, you know, the climax of the Penguin series. It's coming to an end. That's all.
And
that
the
one thing
last
that was-
one,
Go
the
ahead.
Some Like a Cold, was the experienced
Yeah.
quest. So this
And honestly,
is the next step up.
It
from
was harder. I mean, Some Like It Cold is way harder than
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Back to the
totally.
Freezer. Yeah. So their rating system just makes no sense. Like, let's be honest, it makes no sense. But I have to agree with you, Pern. As far as this quest goes, I would probably give it a solid 8 out of 10. It loses points for sending me to the Killer Watt area, in my opinion. It lost a little bit of points in the beginning because I couldn't figure out for the life of me why I couldn't transform into the Penguin. Turns out you got to take off your weapon and cape, but it does. It's just the dialogue box that it tells you that in.
But it's
But my problem was that dialogue box was coming up and disappearing like instantaneously,
it's
and I
so
couldn't
quick,
read it.
wasn't it? Yeah.
So I couldn't.
It did that to me too. I'm going, what?
Yeah. Did you talk about that on the show? I wasn't.
No, so we're talking about it right now on the show.
The dialogue box has been a disaster. Like, it's been
Absolutely.
It's been horrible. It's bad for PVM too, because like someone's like Alcade my Cade is cooldown or whatever. Like, I can't tell because the dialogue disappears instantly. So really, I mean, and plus like clan chat, I never know what people are talking about because someone will be talking about an item, and I'm like, wait, what item are you talking about? Because I didn't see all the previous text because it's been frustrating.
Quick chat's broken as well. You have
Quick
to.
chat is broken.
Quick chat got
which is
quick
really
chat
annoying.
got fixed today. Quick chat got fixed today in the NXT client.
Oh, it did.
That's good to hear.
Yes, it did.
Let's see if they could fix the Java client that they broke this week as well.
Nah, leave the Java client alone. Force people across.
You know what they need to fix? They need to fix the climbing up on Virago. There's a cliff since the NXT update that I've asked multiple times to fix. I've reported it, and I'm like, fix it.
See,
'Cause there's
reports don't do
literally this
anything.
part. Yeah, there's this part where you literally like go through the cliff. It's like glitched upward.
Oh yes. I've seen.
You go inside of the rock, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't tell Zenel about it because he's already got the game breaker title, bastard.
I've reported it a
times,
million times. It's not gonna get. If it hasn't got me a game breaker title, I don't know who is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I discovered, and I don't know if I was the first. I honestly think that only the first person who discovers it gets any reward for it, and then it also has to be a game-breaking bug, not a graphical glitch. It has to be something that literally breaks the game. So I don't even know if what I reported this week even qualifies for game breaker title, but I discovered that the familiar system was broken by someone. I was hanging out at Divination, and someone was like, "Your familiar's in my way," and I'm like, "That's weird." And they're like, "Yeah, it is weird." I'm like, "I don't want to troll you, so what's wrong?" So we went through the troubleshooting process, and we discovered that only on Java clients, familiars that are not your own will have their dismiss options active for them. You can't actually dismiss their familiars, but it's horribly annoying because even if you have click-through familiars on Java, you will not be able to click through somebody else's familiar due to that bug. And I was basically able, through process of elimination, to discover that it only affected Java people.
That's a good find.
Also, if you're on NXT and someone else is on Java, you face different directions. Like if you're standing there, you're facing a different direction on NXT than on the Java client.
That is odd. That is an
We
odd
ought to
one.
try that, Mage.
Right? That is real weird.
Yeah.
I think.
David, do you want to say something?
I don't think anything at Virago is getting fixed because Crucel's gone.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I've asked Ramen.
What have you gotten any feedback from Ramen?
No. he generally ignores me, where he sends me.
We can't take Ramen's word for it though, because remember what happened.
He's a liar.
A month ago.
He's branded forever a liar on this show until he comes on and apologizes for lying to me about Nex. I'm holding that grudge forever, Ramen. Anyway, go ahead.
So I like the quest too. I think I would agree with almost everything you've said. My thing is like, if I'm reading it for what it is, just a silly quest, not much lore, just fun
just
or whatever, like
yeah.
I guess maybe 8 out of 10. But if I'm rating it as a quest, it'd be more like a 6 or 6.5 or something.
Elaborate.
Well, so it's like I think the problem for me was previous Penguin quests always had some tie to the story of that guy Larry at the zoo. There was some, connections. There were some things that were like, like there were little moments of clarity where it was like, oh, this is part of a bigger story or whatever. Whereas this quest at least seems to have no attempt at those little moments of seriousness or little moments where like there's a connection to something or like you can see where this might be going. Like Some Like It Cold, Hunt for Red Raccoon, like those quests all they were silly, but they had moments of real plot.
Fair enough.
The second issue is that the references were so extensive and so obvious that it was almost overwhelming. So like in the past, these quests would have movie references that were like you had to think for a second before you got it. It wasn't just like TARDIS or Crocodile Dundee. It was like you kind of had to like it was maybe a line from The Matrix or a line.
What you're saying? This quest
this
quest is basically jam packed of low hanging fruit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I felt like instead of getting excited at the references I got and then reading the little section of the wiki. Where it's like after the reward section, there was like a did you know section or like
the
fun
trivia
fact section.
Yeah.
And then I read the trivia and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I didn't get these, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of exciting to find the references out for yourself. I felt like I was just being hit over the head with reference after reference after reference that didn't really have a point. And also that's just like I think that some of that is okay, but I think it's more fun when they're a little bit more subtle. Like I said, like a line from a movie or a prominent character's name scrambled up in an anagram as the name of a character. Whereas in this quest, like the two spies, for example, that you go see in Relic, I forget their names, like they're literally just movie characters, so.
Yeah.
So I think I think that's, I mean, I wouldn't say
I'll say for sure that the Gower quest did it better as far as references and being
there you go. That's
being
what I mean,
cheeky.
but I think the Gower quest was way better.
The Gower quest was also self-aware of its own self, where this was kind of referencing pop culture.
You've got to also remember, though, how many people were working on the Gower quest as opposed to this being a tap project between two mods.
That's a very valid point.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if I'm just looking at it in a vacuum for what it is, 8 out of 10 makes sense to me. But compared to other quests, other Penguin quests, the pirate quests, I think are a great example. Gower quest, I think that's fair enough. That's a little unfair to compare just because the Gower quest was such a big deal. But if you look at pirates, penguins, a couple of the other ones, I think that they accomplished a similar goal with having, those moments of seriousness and also references that aren't just like a constant barrage, but are sort of like hidden, which I just think is better.
Like you said, it doesn't have any connection to the previous Penguin quests, but maybe at a later date, this will all tie in. Like if there's a next Penguin quest, it'll use this quest, and so on.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. It could happen, but it seems to be very much its own thing.
Yeah, well, they said that I haven't done the quest, but I saw complaints on Reddit that there's going to be snow and penguins in the middle of the desert forever. So
They did say that, yeah.
yeah. So there's.
I think that possibly opens up for the Grandmaster finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But as far as the Penguin Quest goes, yeah, if you look at it, I agree with you, David. If you look at it as a singular entity and if it stands alone, I think it holds its weight if it stands alone. If you try to compare it to some of the other quests as of late, it doesn't really hold up. But I think it's more fair to compare this to something like, again, Rite of Passage, a bottle quest or something that was smaller, created mainly with a small development team. And for what it is, I think it definitely holds its own. If this was developed by a team of like 10 people, I would have a much different, opinion on how I feel about it. Yeah, for sure.
One other thing I just want to bring up, where you said about the other one always involves Larry. Didn't we save Larry from the walrus camp, and he had like a little chick penguin that he had to go off and look after, and that's why he's not at the zoo anymore?
Something like that. But I still think that he, like it still ultimately is a story that begins and all the hints point towards it ending with him. So maybe they'll just bring it back to the Grandmaster. But, but I mean, that's just one.
I want to find out that the polar bear at the zoo has been a double agent the whole time. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. Jagex, make it happen. I don't know. I honestly. How do you proceed with the Penguin Quest? Like, how do you even? Like, that's my.
Well, that's the whole point of it. It's just that nonsensical type quest. It doesn't make sense. It's there. It's gonna have holes in it because just the style of.
You know what? The type of writing that is in this quest, I would say, is pretty much on par with a Saturday morning cartoon. It's irreverent, it makes no valid connections to anything else, and it wraps itself up in a nice little, 30-minute block. Like, it kind of concluded everything, or, nothing changed in the end. Like, you went through all this drama, and then nothing really happened, if you will. It all kind of resolved itself, which to me is very Saturday morning episodic cartoon-like, and that's not a bad thing. I love episodic style shows that are like that.
So I've just looked it up just for everyone. After the Seals are defeated in Some Like It Cold, Larry's escorted to Chuck, where he regains his senses. Larry's penguin egg hatches, and Sheldon, the baby penguin, is born. After that, Larry is taken to a secret PBJ base. So that's where he is at the moment. So there you go. Sorry.
Are there rewards that are worth doing the quest?
Yeah, I mean, the rewards, if anyone wants to know the rewards, they are 25k XP in Divination and Runecrafting, 15k in Slayer and Agility, 10,000 in Invention. You get an additional penguin hide and seek to find each week, and also the Penguin Hide and Seek and Balthazar's Big Top Bonanza XP now scales. So it's saying the Penguin Hide and Seek experience is now 40 XP per level per point, up from 25 per level per point. So it's a 60% increase in XP gain from them.
It's really good for Iron Man because Penguin points are a decent-ish way for training those harder skills on your Iron Man account. So I think that it makes Penguins a little bit more worth doing.
I agree, and I don't do Penguins unless they're in my way. I have thought about possibly doing Penguins now.
Prior to this quest, they definitely were not worth doing in terms of just like XP efficiency. Obviously, do Penguins if you think it's fun, but prior to this quest, they weren't even close to being worth it. I think they might maybe be almost worth it now if you find it fun or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna probably continue doing Penguins the way I always do Penguins, and then once I get the XP, I remember it previously being like 50 Penguin points was like 70k XP and a 99. So if I go there and it's like 120k or something, then like I'm probably gonna do Penguin points more often. If it's not, then I'm just gonna casually click on Penguins as I'm doing farming.
It's faster. Runs. It's a heck of a lot faster than Option 1 Div, that's for sure.
All right now. I see where you're going with that. Magebit, you can't take the time to do Penguins once a week, but you can sit at Divination for 11 months straight and get 20k an hour. Okay, you're right. Fair enough.
Mod Salem has just put up in Twitter a very nice new customization update.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Try and copy it into chat here.
Wait, who? Which one? What days?
Mod Salen's just come up there. It's that's the picture of it.
What we got here? So what are they doing?
So
Mod Salen, he's the MTX team. So let's see. So he's working on a new customization interface. Let me pop over to my main monitor here. We can take a look if you're looking live here.
They said that they were gonna.
Lexi, go ahead.
They said that they were gonna do more customization, character customization this year.
That's awesome.
This is really good.
Multiple presets. You can see what they look like before you actually assign the preset. Oh yeah, this is very well done. This is very well done. I'm looking forward to this. So again, if you have a lot of, if Fashionscape is something that tickles your fancy, and I'll be honest, it tickles mine, then this looks fantastic. I am very happy to see. Anytime you improve the interface to make things easier, that's always a good thing. Very nice. Good find. Good find. I'm also just updating the back end here. I just adjusted our goals. Again, thanks to everyone who helped us reach our XSplit goal. Cool. I can get a year of XSplit now. I really appreciate that. So I won't bother anyone for a year. And I just changed that to a Reddit advertisement. So our goal is to begin advertising to mainly Reddit and YouTube, because those are our biggest, probably untapped resources at this point. And I just said our next goal will be to do a $50 ad campaign on Reddit, which will target specifically RuneScape subreddits. So the main RuneScape subreddit and any fan-made other subreddits I'm going to target specifically. So hopefully it'll be money well spent targeting only audiences that literally play RuneScape. So you can help us out with that if you want in the future. I just had to set that up now, though. And again, thank you to everyone who got us back on track with XSplit, because Magebit is too much of a noob to figure out how to use OBS with all of our plugins. So thank you for everyone who supported that, including our most recent donation as well. So anyway, do we have anything else that we want to cover
I was just going to say it's 4:30 a.m. here, so I am going to head to bed because I've got to get up about 8 in the morning. So you all take it easy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's great. I hope all those Facebook people enjoyed the show, and we'll see you all next time.
All 1,400 of them.
Wow,
yeah, we've had quite a lot of views on Facebook. So again,
sweet.
Thank you so much to Rune Group for sponsoring us. That's runegroup.uk to find the Facebook group and the Discord. Both are fantastic resources.
400 plus views.
Indeed, that is so awesome. So I definitely look forward to our continued streaming on Facebook. And again, that is fully from Rune Group. They are supporting our custom RTMP stream on Restream. So again, thank you so much for covering the costs, allowing us to stream to Facebook, and sharing it to your audience, which has been, oh my god. Thank you very much. We just got another donation from Cocopo, another $10. Thank you so much. Very generous, very generous. You are an awesome individual. Thank you very much for your support. We are on our way to getting some serious things going here. So again, all the new listeners that have come out specifically today from Facebook, I hope to see you again. We stream pretty much every week on a regular basis. We stream Wednesdays, we stream Fridays, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we are definitely go live. Sometimes we go live a little bit before that, but if you're subscribed on YouTube or following us on Facebook or following us on Twitch, enable the notifications and you don't have to worry. Those will be sent directly to you. Anyway, I'll jump into the full end cap here so you can find all of our fantastic resources. Again, if you are collecting Mage Bucks, the code is FBWL, and you can redeem those at runeweek.com, and you can use Mage Bucks to do all sorts of fun things that I'll talk about in a second here. So, where can you find us in the meantime? Again, we have social media for you. Facebook.com/RSWeekly is our Facebook page. Follow us there. We go live on Facebook now. It's an option as well. We're on Twitter as well, at RSWeekly. And if we have a Discord as well, if you want to join us when we're not live and just chat about anything you want, we got Discord as well. Discord.runeweek.com is the Discord code. And if you could, please take the time to rate us and review us in iTunes or any podcast aggregator that you use to obtain the show. If you're watching via YouTube, please remember to like the video, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe as well. And if you're watching watching live, don't forget to like the live stream as well. And, of course, same goes for Facebook. Thumbs up, happy faces, anything you got, send them our way. And don't forget to follow the Facebook page, where you can, of course, find out when we go live as well there. You want to join us in-game? Cool, we got that too. We got a clan chat for you. Clan chat, kill, skill, the letter N, chill. That's kill, skill, and chill. Clan.runeweek.com is our Rune Clan page if you want to check us out. We have guesting on. You don't have to join the clan if you want to hang out, but if you do want to join the clan, there are absolutely no requirements to joining. If you want to rank up, you can feel free to use the Citadel, but there's no requirements for just hanging out with us. We love having members, whether they're just guests or want to join the clan. And finally, if you want to help us out, we do have a Patreon page for you. Patreon.com/RuneScape is the way you can help us on a monthly basis. And on top of that, if you like RuneScape Weekly so much, you pledge at least $3 a month, you're going to get bonus content. We have elite shows available starting at $3 a month. We have over a year of back shows for you there. So check them out, and it starts at $3 a month to start getting content, but you can pledge as little as $1 a month just to show your support. That's always appreciated. Every amount helps. If you want to do a one-time PayPal donation, well, you may have already figured it out. It's tip.runeweek.com while we're live, or paypal.me/RSW when we're not live. Shop.runeweek.com is our shop where you can use your Mage Bucks. So if you've been collecting Mage Bucks from watching streams, you can use those Mage Bucks to commission live streams, commission videos, change an activity on a skilling stream. There's tons of stuff you can do with Mage Bucks, including purchasing past seasons of RuneScape Weekly that are no longer available on the website, basically 2012 and back. So there's 2013 is available on the feed. Anything after that you can get with your Mage Bucks, basically a loyalty program. You can unlock our old really shitty shows that we don't like to show to people. And if you want to help us out with our upgrades, upgrades.runeweek.com. We're building a new studio where we want to get green screen enabled. We want to get some high def cameras in here. We want to do lots of fancy stuff. You can help us out by checking out our upgrades list there at upgrades.runeweek.com. And of course, a big special thanks to our top Patreon supporters, including Rune Group, Keski, Swagatorix, Alex W, Danny H, Kevin H, Old Gunner, Hamster King, Sudwood, and Godly Fury. Thank you so much for being our top Patreon supporters. But that not only goes for our top Patreon supporters, thank you for being a Patreon supporter. Thank you for being a viewer. Thank you so much for tuning in, because without an audience, what's a podcast? So again, thank you very much for this episode of RuneScape Weekly. I hope you enjoyed your time. We'll be back with an Elite Edition later in the week, and of course, back to do it all over again next week, being Wednesday 9 a.m., Friday 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you there, either live or after the fact. And in the meantime, and as always, happy scaping.